Ahoy hoy! I'm Planarwalk and welcome to the second live open debate. I'll just switch over to so you can see what happens. We've got 5 globe earthers, that's including me, here in the chat with us, and it's going to be a bit more restricted, so we're not going to end up with 30 people trying to talk over each other at once. Let me just unmute this and switch over. And as you can see, no flat earthers have shown up yet. And we've got 404 Earth Not Found in the chat as well. I think that's a good name. I feel like I started something. So
yeah, that was certainly quite the thing to kick off and make a meme of itself.
Because a lot of flat earthers were saying, "Oh, that's genius," and I was just thinking, you know, that was a globe earther that made that account. So you know, I just had to think, what would a flat earther name a Twitter account? So who thinks that flat earthers are going to show up today?
I honestly am not holding my breath.
I think it's going to be like the image that I've got on screen on the stream here, with the tumbleweed just...
Well, as long as someone talks enough shit about, you know, about Nathan Oakley or Riley, then surely one of them will show up. You know, talk of the devil and everything.
I mean, I've messaged Anthony Riley to see if he wants to come on, but we've got, you know, when I put out the video, I had a whole lot of flat earthers come on and say stuff like, there is no debate, or say, provide to me this evidence. And you know, it's just a thing of, well, you know, you can come on and... Oh yeah, Jose GJ Gonzalez is in the chat. He's a pretty good channel, I think. He actually saw through all the flat earth bullshit, in my opinion. And then...
Yeah, that's great. I haven't seen much of his stuff so far. I haven't really had much time to engage with YouTube and all the content that's being put out. But from what I'm hearing, you know, he's seen through everything, and that's really good to hear.
So it's always good when flat earthers sort of realize, look, I was wrong. The Earth is actually a globe. You know, it just shows that they do have intellectual honesty. Whereas the ones that constantly have to say, "Oh, don't show this," or the ones that say, "Oh, look, this is angle of attack or diffraction or something," you know, it just shows a lack of intellectual honesty, in my opinion.
Well, I think it's a very complicated topic around intellectual dishonesty. Yeah, when you have such an overwhelming amount of evidence, and you still refuse to change your mind, that's being intellectually dishonest. But even scientists will go, you know, I've got some evidence that is contrary to my belief. That's contrary to what I think. You know, at first they will scramble around for reasons to reject that particular bit of evidence, or try and warp that evidence in to fit in with their mindset. So it's not just exclusive to the flat earthers. It's the main difference is that, you know, for example, scientists are trained to kind of at a certain point to go, yeah, no, you're right, I am wrong, and let's move on.
And I do think that to an extent it can help if you say, oh, what other reasons could there be, and then test it. But if your other reasons, you know, if just say, take for example the curvature of the Earth and taking photos of objects from a distance, right? And you take a photo of the object from a distance and it should be partially hidden. Well, you got to think. So, what reasons could there be for it? Oh, well, I forgot what I said there for a second. I may have misspoke, but just say you take a photo and you can see the whole thing. It isn't partially hidden or anything. It should be. And then you take a look at that and go, well, what options are there, right? The first thing that you might jump at is the Earth is flat, like a lot of flat earthers do. But then you might think, well, actually, there are photos of objects that are hidden from the bottom up. So maybe there's a reason why this one isn't. So you've got to think about it, and worked out that sometimes you can have things like atmospheric refraction. And so then you've got to test for atmospheric refraction, and if your test is positive and shows that there is atmospheric refraction, then you can,
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. I mean, I've been in a flat Earth thing for a couple of months now, and actually, this whole atmospheric refraction, I didn't really come across it until I got involved in flat Earth stuff. Because surprise, surprise, this whole flat Earth debate is within the scientific community. No one actually really gives a damn about it.
Imagine my surprise.
But yeah.
How dare you say that? We all know that King Neil deGrasse Tyson likes to talk about.
Well,
And
most
yes,
of the people in the
yes, I'm
scientific,
kidding.
yeah, but most of the. So I'll just go on record and say, most people in the scientific community at this day and age don't consider Neil deGrasse Tyson as a scientist, right? He's a PR guy. He's an outreach guy. There's within the scientific community, you have the people who do active research, and you've got the people who did active research but are now focused on public engagements, right? They're not, scientists anymore engaged in active research. And Neil deGrasse Tyson is actually one of the first people, who will be approached by the media to give some quote or something about a major new discovery. My colleagues at LIGO just had this quite recently, where the newspapers approached Neil deGrasse Tyson before the media approached them, and Neil deGrasse Tyson's response was, "Well, I don't fucking know. Talk to these guys," and he's quite honest in that. But yeah, when I first got engaged with the flat Earth stuff, I'd never even thought about atmospheric diffraction. I thought, yeah, okay, that's probably a thing, but so I did have a moment where it's like, what the hell is going on here? Why is that possible that we can actually see, that a little bit further than I expected to be able to? And then obviously doing, a 5-second Google search, I can find a perfectly reasonable explanation, and, I can move on. But yeah, that's the evidence, and yeah.
And
but that's also...
You mean you went more than just trusted something from you?
Yes, I did. I mean, oh God! Well, for a second, I believed. I didn't believe something that was on YouTube. It's an outrageous idea for many people, but yeah.
The one thing that actually, so when I first heard about flat Earth, I saw this person in my class, and he was watching this flat Earth video, and we all thought it was a joke. We thought, it can't be serious. But then I actually looked it up and found out that it wasn't a joke. Even when I found out that it wasn't a joke, I thought maybe they're just trolling. And then I found that there's a whole rabbit hole of this idiocracy. But then what happened is I was trying to think, well, the one thing that makes a flat Earth impossible, and this is the thing from the get-go that meant that I never believed in flat Earth, was the sun dips. The sun will go when it sets, it dips below the horizon, and that would be impossible on a flat Earth, unless you've got some magical bullshit, which yeah, magic
keyword.
Yeah. I'm just going to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole flat Earth thing for me was when I was an undergraduate. I worked in a petrol station, and some of the guys that I worked with, they were talking about this guy called B.O.B. They were talking about, he just came out as being a flat earther. He believes that the Earth is flat. To be honest, my first response was, "Who the fuck is Bob?"
It's Bob this.
Bob
the science guy.
Why do I give a shit? Yeah, why do I give a shit about what he thinks? And to be honest, that was that for me. It was a bit of fun for about 10 minutes. I had a bit of a laugh at it, but it was then it's about a year later, I think, when I started my postgraduate studies, at my university, then I heard about one of the guys actually being one of the token scientists on the panel for the Flat Earth conference. I believe it was in Birmingham. And at that point, I thought, oh shit, this is actually a thing. There's an actual serious movement about it. And that's when I first really started thinking about it, and it was really naive for me, thinking it's like, well, you know what, they spread the shit on YouTube. I'll just try and do some sciencey stuff on YouTube and kind of put a very flat Earth focused idea, narrative around it. Didn't give it much thought until about Christmas just gone. And then I thought, oh fuck it, I've got a few weeks free. Why not have a look into this properly? And then I came across Simon Dan. And then obviously everything just kind of kicked off. I started doing my science videos, but it was just really strange. I'm still kind of shocked that this is a thing, especially by the fact that I've been in this whole community for about 2.5, 3 months, something like that.
One thing I
even
do
now
have to say. You can finish before I say something.
Yeah, and I'm just shocked by what state the community is in right now, and how the whole flat Earth thing hasn't disappeared yet, considering how much of a fucking shit show
one
it
thing
is.
I do have to say, if anyone is for anyone in the live chat, if you haven't subscribed to AB Science, you should definitely. He makes some really good content. He exposed me and my guitars, and then if you actually notice, the next video that I did was the next video that I did was had a whole lot of guitars, 5 different guitars. There was
I was extremely flattered by the general response that got by the whole community. It was fantastic.
So your channel will actually be the channel of the month. I just have to make a community post about it, and yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
I was actually wondering, who should I make channel of the month, and then for this month, and then you made that video about conspiracy cats being a Satanist, and so I was like, it's got to be AB Science.
Oh. That video, it was hilarious. The response to that was just amazing, because to people in the chat who may not be kind of creators in the community, when someone posts a comment, you obviously get to see it pretty quickly, and so they post a comment and you get the comment pop up on your phone screen, but by the time you kind of like log on, and because I get a comment, people saying, "Oh, you're mental. You should, up the dosage on your meds, or you are such a paranoid idiot," and everything like that. I don't like working on my phone, so I'll go over to my computer, log on there, respond to the comment, just to kind of try and let them know that it's a joke. But by the time I've logged on to my computer, they've clearly seen the end of the video. and then edited their comment because I click on the notification and an entirely different comment just pops up. So the response to that has been really, really fun. It's been the most fun I've kind of done on YouTube. It was just, yeah, so many people kind of fell for it. And it's not just flat earthers falling for it. It's everyone. Yeah, it was a great laugh.
I have a lot of comments every day. Oh, a few days ago I didn't have many comments, but that was because I had all my content privated.
Yeah.
But you know, even on some of my videos even on some of my videos that are older, like I've got this comment here saying vaccines cause adults, and I've got one person commenting on my video about, and in one part, Nathan Oakley, right? He was talking about Tim Osmond, and yeah, he was being really insulting to Tim Osmond, and I was just thinking, geez, that's way too extreme. So yeah, this person said, 804, Nathan Oakley has never sounded so intelligent. His best argument yet. So...
Yeah. Oh yeah, some of the comments you get generally are funny. I've been fortunate enough to kind of get a lot of really positive stuff. You know, because I get the occasional kind of flat earth troll, but it's, you know, overall it's been wonderful. You know, if I were to be really up myself, I'd like to think, well, it's because the flat earthers don't really kind of watch beyond the first 5 seconds. The moment I put an equation on screen. But, you know, you do have the few diehard idiots who will persist. But overall, I've been really kind of flattered with a lot of the comments on it. They're generally very undeserving, if I'm honest.
For me, I've actually gotten quite a bit of flack for one of my recent videos, and that was how I trolled the flat Earth community. Now, because what's happening?
Oh, sorry, did I forget to mute? Yeah, sorry, I was just getting another beer out of the fridge.
Speaking of, I'm going to have to go do a beer run in a little bit so I can be prepared for tonight.
Yeah, are there any Fethus in the chat yet?
There's not. As far as I can tell, there's one person who's got the Flat Earther role, and that's Osher. And no one else has the Flat Earther role. So I'm just going through and seeing if Riley is still on the server. He might be. I'm just checking to see if there's a person. If there's anyone named Sleeping Warrior. Doesn't look like it. Huh, he must have left. Yeah, he seems to have left the server. So.
Yeah.
But.
No, that would have been interesting to have a chat with him about whether gravity is a force.
Because that's actually one thing that recently I've been thinking about. You know, he had this debate with Fight the Flat Earth, and there were a few points where I think Fight the Flat Earth stumbled a bit, because when he said, when Fight the Flat Earth said, as things move downwards, they decelerate, right? What I think he should have said was, as things wouldn't accelerate downwards, they'd accelerate upwards. And
well, this is actually quite a complex situation, and I have to preface this with what I do is I deal with quantum mechanics. I don't deal with the big stuff like general relativity. That's not my forte. It's not something actually I'm particularly interested in beyond the kind of general layman interests. However, I do have a little bit more of a mathematical understanding of these topics. And I'm going to say something very controversial here, and I'm probably at risk of being edited in such a way that I'm somehow confirming Anthony Riley's statement. But in a sense, if you look at it from a truly inertial reference frame, as according to Einstein's theory of general relativity, then gravity is not a force. However, where we are in the reference frame that we occupy, gravity is something called an inertial force. And that is to the same extent of the Coriolis force or centrifugal force are not real forces. They're called inertial forces, and they have to do with the particular reference frame that we occupy. And in the reference frame that we sit as human beings on the surface of a spinning ball, it is most definitely a force. It is an inertial force. Now, having read into this a little bit more, in a bit more of a philosophical standpoint, the question then arises, well, what is a true force? What is an inertial force? And then some people may argue that things like electromagnetic forces or the weak or the strong nuclear forces are actually inertial forces as well, and they're not anything to do with, real forces. And that leads to the question of what really is a force. What Anthony Riley is saying is that, in the framework of general relativity, gravity is not a force, and he's kind of half right within it. And that's to say, if you are in a inertial reference frame, and what that means is that in an inertial reference frame, you are in free fall, crashing towards the Earth. So if you are just falling down, then gravity is not a force, because according to general relativity, that is the inertial reference frame. And on the surface of the Earth.
Well, and that's where you end up losing people who have fallen towards the flat Earth, because as soon as you start going with reference frames that are not directly tangible here on Earth, they start to lose their shit. Because a lot of them really do have that problem with conceptualization. And when you get into the higher order of mathematics, and especially physics, you have to be able to conceptualize things that are counterintuitive. And that really is the only way that I can think to describe it, because you said you weren't the type that really enjoyed the advanced physics side of things. And that's where I come in. Even though I have the current background from electrical engineering, I really do enjoy the hard side of physics and the applied physics. So that's where I'm back in school and pursuing again, because
a correction.
I find it fascinating. That's my enjoyment.
A correction. I do enjoy the side of physics, just not the general relativity side. I'm a researcher in quantum mechanics.
You don't like the mind-bending side of it? Come on.
Oh no, it's the quantum mechanics is far more mind-bending than the general relativity crap. The problem is general relativity is too good a theory, right? It's 100 years old. We haven't really been able to change much of it. We've been trying to disprove it for 100 years. We're still trying our best to do it, and we keep on failing. At least quantum mechanics has given us a little bit of leeway. It's given me as a scientist something to play with.
Well, and And that's what I enjoy about the beauty of not just general relativity, but also special relativity is it is over 100 years old at this point. And when you look at it, everyone who's tried to falsify it is like, well, if all of this is true, then we should be able to see X. And then as soon as technology has allowed it, guess what we've seen? We've seen that prediction. And it keeps fucking happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the frameworks themselves are they're wonderful for making predictions. But as a scientist, it's our job to disprove this shit, right? And that makes it really hard for us because it is incredibly good. But we know at the same time that it's not complete.
One thing I just got to say though before we continue this conversation is, flat earthers, come on, where are they? No, why is the?
I mean, I see P Mars in the chat. I mean, he's using various sock accounts. Now, I don't believe that he's a flat earther or anything, but
no, he's not.
No, and I think he has said several times that he's not a flat earther. That's the one thing I'm willing to believe him on. But let's not bring him on because I think the last time we had it, I mean, it was a fucking dumpster fire. But at the end of the day, he was the reason we had to shut that shit down, just to make sure that your channel wasn't shut down for community strike violations and all that stuff. Because I'm not interested in having discussions about.
Yeah, I mean, I am going to actually. I do have a few live streams lined up where not. So it's where I'll be talking with people that sort of combat a lot of this racism on YouTube. We'll try, and so that'll be my podcast live streams, and that should be fun. And they will be sort of on the weeks that I don't do this live debate, and so. But hopefully, we can get some flat earthers here and have them actually present their arguments, because there was a lot of flat earthers on that video that I posted saying about the flat earth debate, yet none of them showed up to debate me.
Yeah, they're probably not subscribed to you. They came over to you from Jeranism's stream, and they kind of saw that pop up.
Well, and it's not just that. It's not just that. A lot of your chat-based vocal flat earthers are all bluster, no fuster. They will spew and just spew and just spew in the chat. But as soon as you say, hey, come join us for the conversation, they either fuck off at the speed of sound or just outright disappear. Or the third option that I've seen them do is just try to claim some type of BS excuse why they can spend time in the chat, but not actually be willing to engage closer to face with people of the opposing view.
So if I'm just going to press on the video. So let's see what comments there are, and I'll go newest first so that we can get some of this. So I've got some people. Okay, I don't know. There was one flat earther who just said, "Was this your father? Bring your mum to wipe your pussy then." What? It doesn't make any sense.
So quintessential flat earther.
I can actually bring this up on Firefox. I'll open up another.
P Mars is talking about his scientific dictatorship again.
So the people.
Just because you have a phallic obsession, it doesn't mean everything is a dictatorship.
True. I'm just going to open up.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I was in a conversation earlier that where we concluded that the average flurfer was less intelligent than a squid.
Wait. Actual
there's-
cephalopod
Actual-
or
Actual, the actual animal, not a sailor.
yeah, I always have to make sure about that clarification.
Yeah, yeah. We're not in VTW now.
But we will be in 3.5 hours. So
I know.
So,
But yeah, the conclusion was that the average flurfer is less intelligent than a squid. And the squid was in a net inside a tank outside a Korean seafood restaurant.
oh, talking about one of those escaping bastards. Yeah. There's a large octopi at the aquarium in Seattle, Washington, that is notorious for getting out of his tank.
so I've just brought up the comments from the latest video so that we can see how many. Oh, we've got Flat Earth New Zealand in the chat. You should join us, mate.
No, see, that's the thing, Flat Earth New Zealand. We've been waiting for someone like you to bring their best.
Yeah, come on,
What you got?
join and not scared, are you? That's actually one of the reasons why I had VoiceOver Pete say, "You're not scared, are you?" Because a lot of them seem to be unwilling to join for some reason. You know, in the last one, I only had Anthony Riley and Pete Shade join. So while we...
Well, I mean, in fairness, it's about, for me, it's not necessarily about being scared, right? Because, I like, you may have noticed that in the last kind of Flat Earth debate you had, I'm happy to come on to have a chat about the concepts and maybe about the philosophy of science. But when it actually gets to a debate, I'm going to have to mirror probably what a previous flurfer has probably said to you. It's not a debate. And that's because it fucking isn't.
I think the
right?
best...
It is not actually a debate. And one of my issues is the moment a kind of scientist or any globe proponent, I'm putting scare quotes there, kind of enters the debate with a flat earther, they've lost, because and this kind of gets back to kind of very long-standing right-wing strategy. It's not about the actual debate, who wins or loses. It's about engaging in the debate, and it's about establishing themselves as somehow a legitimate argument. So the moment you actually engage in the debate, then you legitimize the argument. However, having said that, I do enjoy taking a piss out of people. So
yeah, and I think that
I struggle with
if you don't, like, a lot of people seem to think that you see, I get comments all the time saying you shouldn't talk about this flat earth stuff because it legitimizes the arguments. But on the other hand, you have a lot of people saying, oh, nobody can disprove this. And so I feel like if you got people saying, oh, nobody can disprove this, then if you go ahead and disprove that, then you'd hope that they'd stop using that argument, but that's not always the case. But if there is a lack of...
Well, and here's the thing. Yeah, we could hope that they would stop using that argument. Oh, you can't falsify this. Mind you, every time they say that, it's something that has been falsified multiple times over the past 5 years. If you actually look at the argumentation that they use, it hasn't changed since it began over 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, my channel has been a lot about kind of disproving these ideas, but more and more are moving into the more comedic side of it. Even though I'm not a funny person whatsoever, I don't really do comedy, but I get the occasional idea because there's no point in trying to disprove that argument because they'll just fucking ignore it.
Yeah, and speaking of comedy, Dan74 has had the best line I've seen so far. Why does Nathan Oakley's videos have subtitles? His audience can't read them anyway.
That's good. But to be fair, and this is the only time that I'll give Nathan Oakley any sort of credit, but Nathan Oakley does manage to bring something new to the Flat Earth debate. To the Flat Earth community, but the problem is that he brings something new every week, right? And so one week it will be angle of attack, the next week it will be diffraction, then the next week it will be diffraction limit, and I don't know what he's on now.
I thought that the two were intrinsically linked, right? Somehow that your angle of attack changes the diffraction limit. That's the impression I always got, but there's no coherent argument there. So I haven't got a fucking clue what he's talking about. By the way, Flat Earth NZ seems to be very, very active in the chat. So can we maybe reiterate our invite for that person to join? Or maybe Gary. I know he's been playing with Tommy for a bit.
Yeah. So if you're in the chat, you should really come on and debate us, because otherwise we're not really going to take note of your argument. If you come in and debate us, you can present your argument. I can pull up your argument on screen. We can go through it.
Well, and so far, I have yet to see an actual argument come from Flat Earth New Zealand. I mean, come on, dude, look at the title. It says, bring your best evidence. We're here. We're waiting for it. We want to see it. So go ahead, come join us, and give your best evidence for
and he's
why
saying,
the Earth is flat.
learn the scientific method, clowns, and I'll join your little chat. I know the scientific... I know the scientific method. If I've got something wrong... tell me what I've got wrong. Come in here, tell me what I've got wrong, and then, even though it will probably be an argument of semantics, and I've just got to pull up something here because I noticed that I had a super chats. Super chats will be read at the end of this, and like I thought, Flat Earth New Zealand says Planarwalk, no you don't, and. So come on and tell me what you think the scientific method is. If you think I don't... And then he's saying independent variable. Of course he's saying independent variable.
Okay, so if he wants to have a chat, welcome to, because the scientific method, that is my data.
So, question for you then. Does the independent variable need to be the cause of... does the independent variable need to cause the dependent variable, or can it just be an influence?
It can just be an influence in that sense. Now, the independent variable is just merely something either you're physically manipulating or you are picking that out from your data set. So, for example, you take the physics approach and you do an experiment. For example, something I do is say apply a magnetic field to start something, and then I measure the magnetic response of that material a lot. Now, in the actual experimental configuration, my independent variable, the bit I manipulate is the magnetic field, and magnetic configuration is the dependent variable. However, within that, there's a lot of data that is hidden, and it is all about how you manipulate it. So when I worked on, I do occasional bits of work within educational policy, and I look at large statistical data sets, and they're all observations. And there, the independent variable is anything you want it to be. So your independent variable is anything you want it to be. If it's recorded, then you can make it your independent variable, and you can make anything your dependent variable in that sense. So, as I said before, I can use my magnetic field as the independent variable because that's the bit I'm physically manipulating. But I could quite easily swap the data around and say what the magnetic response is of my samples for that to be the independent variable and to have the applied magnetic field.
But then you run into the problems of which causes what, I feel.
Well, yeah, but what we're showing is correlations. What we're not showing necessarily is causation. And that's a different topic. Because your independent variable is anything within a strict, and this is what I tell my graduates a lot, is the independent variable is just the shit that you plot on your x-axis. And what's on your y-axis, that's your dependent variable. Now, it is quite difficult, but it doesn't have to be something that you're physically manipulating.
So would you say that time would classify as an independent variable?
It could very well be. It's a very important independent variable, especially when you're solving differential equations.
Because I've come up with a few sort of experiments where I've said, so just say the measurement of the speed of, just say you want to measure the speed of sound, right? And so you set up an experiment where you set up something a long way away, a contraption which makes a large sound and shines a laser to you immediately as it makes that large sound. So you set that up, and when the button's pressed, it makes a large sound, shines a laser, and the laser sort of acts as sort of a thing where it's. I'm just trying to work out a good way to explain this. So as soon as the laser hits the center, the timer goes off, and you wait for the sound to hit the sensor, essentially. And then you'd be able to use that and measure the speed of sound. Now, I'd say that the independent variable would be something like distance, and the dependent variable would be the time that it takes for the sound to reach your sensor.
Yeah, I mean, if you had that sensitive, where you're saying it's quite difficult, but your independent variable could be anything you want it to be. And that's the key. You just taking something, right? When we're looking at something, how does it evolve over time? Then our independent variable is time. How does something change with the electric field as we increase the electric field? Then your independent variable is the electric field. However, if you have confounding variables or something like that, you have a large data set. So one fine example is, going back to my educational research stuff, is I looked at, my groundwork was how does success at secondary school or high school in different subjects, how good a predictor is that at success at universities? And there's lots of confounding variables. just lots of other variables in that which are factors in. And to kind of figure out what the factors are, you perform a lot of mini experiments, and that is, you look at things like socioeconomic background, you look at gender, you look at ethnic background, and all of those things, and how they map on into success.
One of the problems that I find is and this goes into a much wider sort of thing, is that a lot of people really, they don't science properly. And so I see quite a few people making the claim that African American people have lower IQ, and they think that it's because of genetics, when they don't account for things like when they don't account for social background. How rich was their parents? Because if your parents are poor, then it's likely that the kids will go to lesser education and then end up with having low IQ. And you see that same kind of trend in all kinds of things, And
yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the big kind of struggles, right? IQ. First, you've got to ask the question: how useful is it really? It's quite a useless measurement. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but my wife is, and we do talk about this sort of thing. Now, IQ, it's not a great measurement, but if we want to predict success, we actually go beyond IQ. And even if we want to predict success at an academic level, we do see that ethnic backgrounds do have a large impact. We do see that a socioeconomic background has a large impact. And we do see that the two are linked. That socioeconomic background and background, there's a relationship between those two that is really hard to tease apart. So we see that people from non-majority backgrounds. So in the UK, that is, we're talking about the BAM community, although I fucking hate that word. We see that people from those communities tend to underperform, but that completely disappears when we look at other communities. And what we see, and when we start controlling for language ability, then that completely disappears, and then it becomes very clear that that performance gap is due to cultural integration issues, and that's an extremely difficult topic. That for me is something I'm not willing to get involved in, mainly as an immigrant myself. To what extent should we force people to integrate, and to what extent should immigrants, strive to, integrate with others? To what extent should immigrants challenge culture? I believe that there's a healthy balance there, but because cultural purity is an insane idea. We need immigration to challenge our culture, of course. But we need our culture to challenge other cultures as well. And this is a kind of almost Marxist idea of dialectics, of where we need to have a conversation, and we need to actually have our culture challenged, because what happens when our culture is not challenged and it doesn't evolve, and that means it dies.
And
but yeah, that, as I said, it's not an argument I'm willing to get involved with, because I'll end myself pushing myself into corners where the social justice warriors will lynch me for saying certain things, whereas actually I'm really side.
Yeah, you've
right?
got
Anyway.
You got social justice. I find that you've got both social justice warriors that are arguing one thing, and they're talking past the anti-social justice warriors, and the anti-social justice warriors are talking past the social justice warriors. And I find that some of the best channels out there for that kind of content is channels like Sean, and you've also got channels like so yeah, you've got channels like Sean, you got channels like shit, I'm just trying to think. H Bomber Guy is another good one. Faraday Speaks recently exploded in popularity, and I feel like he might be one of those sorts of channels which just looks at the data and explains why people might be incorrect. Although he hasn't made enough content for people to really make a accurate judgment of them. Destiny also seems like a good, like someone who is, yeah, who might be good. But yeah.
So now the question is, have we got any flat earthers?
Well, we've got some people in the debate lobby. I'm just going to say...
Any of them identifying?
We've got one of them, Flatmaster 5000, but I'm pretty sure he's a troll, but I don't know. We've got Brenda, who I think is a... Hello, Brenda. I think she's a globe earther, though. And she's got the role of globe earther.
All right. Well, she may be an infiltrator, part of the controlled opposition.
Controlled opposition, yes.
So...
Hey, Brenda, I haven't seen you in a while.
What's your topic?
Well, our topic here today is supposed to be bring your best evidence, flat earthers, but flat earthers just aren't showing up. It's really strange.
They don't care about evidence. They're not interested in evidence.
Yeah, because there's a very important point there. What you're saying is best evidence. And a qualifying part of best evidence is having evidence in the first place.
I'll just make another announcement. Debate. Waiting.
I'm just gonna have a look through the chat and see what's going on.
Because they're not really flat earthers. They're globe deniers. They're denialists. They don't have a belief in the flat Earth because nothing about the flat Earth makes any kind. They don't care about facts or reasons or evidence. And if you showed them evidence to their face, they'd simply deny it. It's mostly a religious belief based on very extreme, orthodox, fundamentalist religious belief. That's the majority of them. And the others are conspiracy theorists.
And I do find that there are a lot of I've just put my link in the my link to my Discord in the chat. It is in the description as well, so I was just but a lot of them are conspiracy theorists, and I find that they sort of want to make I guess they want to believe in another conspiracy theory. And I find that a lot of you have a lot of religious people who are also very conspiratorial, and I find that interesting, to be honest.
Yeah, well, if you look at the people in the comment sections and the people who actually watch Globebusters and all those, the content is almost entirely extremely religious content, very conservative, religious, very bigoted, anti-Semitic, racist content. That's what flat earthers are. They're bigots, anti-Semites. I mean, you can come across vicious anti-Semitism in the flat earth community.
Yeah,
they're just horrible.
That's what I hear from a lot of flat earthers. I hear things about you know, all the Zionists or the Jesuits, and it's just. And then you hear a lot about them saying, oh, one of them recently was claiming that the Christchurch shooting was a false flag or some shit like that, and it's just. And to me, you know, I know someone who was around that area when it happened, and he actually heard he heard the gunshots. He was tending to people afterwards, so that definitely happened, you know. Unless my dad was paid by some people you know, but I don't think that he'd, you know.
These aren't people who have a rational grip on reality. It's all conspiratorial, and it's all these they have all these imaginary forces and powers that are aligned. They're up in the heavens or down below. There are principles and principalities that are at work in the world, and it's really also a way of pacifying people, because if there's all these powerful Illuminati people out there who have just all this power, then you can't do anything. What can you do against that? You can't do anything. And so it's a way of disempowering people. So if I was a wealthy billionaire, a plutocrat, I would want people to be in flat earth. I would want them to, because that would make them dumb and compliant, and to go along with me robbing them blind. I wouldn't care if they believe in flat earth, because I'm going to rob them blind.
Absolutely, because you have to look at it from the other side. It's about the personal accountability side of it. If you believe in a conspiracy theory, then that means that there's a faceless them or they that take away your agency, and then it's no longer your fault that that your life is not quite the way you want it to be. But I've just noticed in the chat, Simon Dan has joined.
Simon Dan.
Hello, Simon Dan, and I'm just thinking of suggesting, as there are no flat earthers joining this chat, and we're about joining the debate about 60 minutes in. I'm just thinking maybe we should extend out to the chat any other random topics that they may want to hear discussed or something like that.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about going to the comments here and reading out a few of the comments from these flat earthers that seem to be very eager to have a debate, yet don't seem to have shown up. So that seems like a fun idea until some flat earther decides to show up and actually debate. But,
Sorry, J.E. has just posted a comment saying the only thing that is flat is the brain activity of a flirter. I would just like to say to J.E. Atwood that if you actually put electrodes onto a block of jelly, you'll get more measured brain activity than you would get from from a comatose person. So, at best, if that translates.
And Flat Earth NZ is constantly saying in the chat, he says, "I said I will debate you if you learn the scientific method," and so, the first.
I believe in the scientific method. I do it for a living, so I'll have a chat. I won't have a debate. I'm willing to have a chat because there's nothing to debate. But
Yeah.
Come on, have a chat.
That's another factor, which is the massive Dunning-Kruger effect. I'm sure you guys have heard of that. What it says is that people lacking expertise in a subject area think that they know more than the expert. So you're a scientist, you actually do it, but these people often think that they know more about science than you do.
Well, of course, and you know, we can't be lying to ourselves and say that none of us suffer from the Dunning-Kruger effect, because we all do to a certain extent. But at least
to a certain extent, sure.
Yeah, to a certain extent, but you know, at least the rational person will have a point where they go, "Oh shit, I'm seriously outmatched here. Maybe I should stop." And it's a bit of self-awareness. You know, the flat earthers haven't been taught.
Like when it comes to one thing that I want to say to Flat Earth NZ is, you know, he says that he's not coming on until we learn the scientific method, right? So if we've got something wrong about the scientific method, then why shouldn't he, you know, shouldn't he just come on and correct us about it?
That would be the intellectually honest thing to do if he actually does have the knowledge he purports to have. Dude, seriously. The entire time we've been telling you, come explain it to us if we have it wrong. What are you waiting for?
And you know, I'm not Nathan Oakley. I won't mute you every 5 seconds to scream over you. You know, I'll make sure you have a decent chance to speak, and if someone else here like, just say Jared starts shouting over you. I don't think Jared would shout over you, but if Jared starts shouting over you, then I'll mute him. You know?
Yeah, and it's also why you said at the beginning of this you were limiting the number of people per side, so each side has the opportunity to get their points out. What are you waiting for, Flat Earth New Zealand? Come join us.
Okay, so he's just said he just said that show one experiment that adheres to the scientific method. Come on to the show.
Yeah,
we can talk about this.
Just shouting things in the chat isn't really going to prove anything, you know, because there are heaps of experiments that use the scientific method, you know. Let's think. There's Cavendish. There's.
You don't. So apparently he doesn't have a mic.
If you have a mobile device,
when was your computer built? Was your computer built back in 2003? Because shit.
Well, no, not even that. Discord has a wonderful mobile platform, so if you have a cell phone, you have a microphone.
Yeah,
Stop with the excuse.
I am dialing on my mobile phone because apparently I keep cutting out when I call in on my laptop. So, yeah.
I have to say I do have a PC that doesn't have a built-in mic, and I used to have to connect using my phone when I wanted to talk on Jared's VTW show.
Yeah, so it can be done.
But it is only a 3-year-old system. I chose not to have a mic or a camera built into it.
Yeah, it's like my phone. I make sure that I get phones with a mic built into it because when it comes to making calls, you kind of need a mic. You know, if you have a phone which now either you live in if you don't have a mic to join this, either you live in 2005 or some shit like that, and you have. Oh, actually, I'm trying to think when were smartphones created.
Oh no, even before then, because I bought my own first mobile phone back in the early 2000s. We're talking 2002.
Okay. But I'm meaning like smartphones that can actually download Discord. So, when did Android get released? Would have been
the Android was around 2005, 2006 for mobile devices, but even before then, you had BlackBerry, which again started in 2002, 2003, the first one that was an actual usable smart, but they were fucking expensive at the time. And yeah, Sean Hufford and I have made the same observation. He said, "Oh, I'll come on if you do X." We do X. Now there's a new reason why he can't join. He's an intellectually dishonest twat
moving the goalposts. Essentially.
The goalposts. They're playing football.
But yeah, that is essentially half the arguments of flat earthers. It's saying, "Oh, prove this, prove that." Okay, we'll prove that, and then we prove something, and then they say, "Oh, you didn't actually prove that. You've got to do this to prove it," and it's just.
Well, I mean, I keep my identity. I mean, I say my identity. Obviously, you can see my face on videos and stuff like that. But overall, I keep my name and the institution I work with as quite private. And I have put out the bounty. Well, here's a very simple experiment. This is, the Eratosthenes experiment, but we add a few measurements, and that will allow us to very simply measure the angle of inclination of the sun, and from that we can figure out what the shape of the Earth is. And if the data that is generated from a citizen science project, if the data generated truly does show that the Earth is flat, I will very publicly write up the data. I'll write up the paper, and I know of scientific publications that will publish it. And anyone who is involved with, I will share the fucking Nobel Prize with. Because I am serious about this, right? If you can measure the Earth being flat using a very simple... It's a stick and a fucking tape measure. Come on, people. Actually, shit, I just released a video on this about an hour ago. But it's just a stick and a tape measure. And if we can do that enough places in the world and we get enough data, then we should get a very beautiful correlation between latitude and the azimuthal angle of the sun. And if all the data comes in and it shows that the Earth is flat, hell, I'll write up the paper under my real name.
So it's funny you mention that, because over a year ago, Sly Sparkane actually did this on his channel with a large number of his subscribers, invited people of both sides of the question to capture the zenith angle, capture the data, provide it to him, and he modeled it out. He modeled it out from a flat plane. He modeled it out from a globe of a circumference of 24,000 plus miles. And here's the funny thing: the flat plane starting point for all the data points pointed all over the fucking place. But once you start plotting those angles and directions at time from a curved surface, funny, all the lines of that resulted from those started to run parallel to each other, almost as if they're running to the same object a long distance away.
Yeah, and there's a very easy experiment to do, and if flat earthers want to get involved, then I encourage them to get involved. But so far, no flat earthers have,
Hot.
said, yeah, I'll be involved with this
I
shit.
need to point this out. Flat Earth NZ in the chat just said there is no empirical science to prove that flat Earth either.
Well, no, there isn't, because all the evidence points towards it.
I'm glad he admitted that.
Well, here's the thing. There is a wonderful discipline called geodesic surveying. And that is quite literally measuring the contour of the Earth. That contour can go in any direction. It deals with terrain, it deals with everything. And yet, when you put it all together, it doesn't go flat.
I'm just going to
of course it
open up
doesn't.
Discord because I need to check. I need to keep on checking to see if anyone's joined the debate waiting lobby yet. We don't have any
We have a number of people in the regular lobby, and actually a great person for this discussion is in there, Sean Hufford.
I'll bring him
over
until
it could be.
Yeah, because no flat earthers are joining us, so.
Yeah.
Hey Sean, how's it
Hi
going?
guys.
Hello.
That's Sean.
Well, I tried to follow the rule about the waiting lobby, but I seem to not have access to that, so I was stuck in the actual.
Did you give yourself the globe earther role?
I did not even know I was supposed
there's
to
a
be
whole
doing
lot
that.
of things in rules.
You can join us.
Yeah, I literally just joined this
Okay.
thing maybe 15 minutes ago.
We'll get you set up. So apparently, Starkiller, are you claiming to be a flat earther?
Starkiller. What? I'm confused.
There is someone in here with the name Starkiller
Okay.
Sebi.
No. Wait,
Nope, not anymore.
I lost track.
Oh, Flatmaster 5000. You're a little quiet. Can we get his levels bumped?
No, it's fine. I'll just increase my gain.
There you go.
Oh, we got a thing going on, have we?
Yeah, he's kind of fond of Solid Snake, so you'll have to bear with.
All right. Okay. Well, Solid Snake. Fair enough. It's a decent game.
So, what were we talking about before? I can't remember.
Well,
I think we're talking about we're talking about, you know, if flat earthers come along and actually someone just mentioned in the chat. I'll private message you in the Discord with the link to my discussion with some flat earthers in the Globebusters Facebook. I await your opinion. Okay, you can do that, AML. Oh, and someone sent me an image of a plane that is flying, and it has shows a bit of curvature. Oh.
you mean
Okay, so I see something in the comments that may suggest that there's a bit about the Cavendish experiment. I don't know who said something, but Kerbert Ties had said that Cavendish has been repeated hundreds of times. I would just like to reiterate that. So I have 100 undergraduates every year that repeat the Cavendish experiments, and they get a good result, or sometimes even better result.
Yeah, it's almost like the controls you put into the setup have a direct influence on the quality of the data.
I know.
the military economy? They control.
I'm just gonna say Dan74 says, ask Sean if he heard Riley talk about his university position, please.
Last I heard about his university position was his paper was rejected by the faculty there because it was just a bunch of waffle. And then he was going to have some kind of protest out in front of it under a rule that actually protects the students while they're supporting the school's political views.
So that sounds like it could be interesting. Oh, well, somebody says, is this video looping? I already heard this. Did I miss something? It shouldn't be. Huh. So, yeah, I forgot. I did hear a few things when it comes to Anthony Riley. Apparently, Fight the Flat Earth. He got in contact with a person with Anthony Riley's source, or something like that.
As far as I know, yes, he has. He's been in talks with them. They're actually setting an experiment that has some rather large names attached to it.
Yeah, I'm
looking forward to all that.
Yeah, I think they're doing this thing called Project Eratosthenes, which is actually something I kind of proposed, and I was talking about that a bit earlier on. But when I kind of uploaded that video, I think it had about 9 subscribers or something like that. So, yeah, it's great to see them doing that sort of thing. I'd like to see a bit more of the citizen science thing, but as long as it's being done transparently, then there will be, still a lot of legitimate evidence for the flat earthers to, well, fucking ignore. So that'll be great. So yeah, from what I understand, he has got a thing set up with George Misner, or whatever his name is. I'm not too familiar with the guy. Yeah, it looks good. It's also annoyed me because I'm currently, trying to convince a few of the LIGO team to do a little interview about that sort of thing, but a bit more generic and not very much focused on, showing how wrong Riley is, because, well, we all know how wrong he is.
Well, speaking of Craig and Riley, has anybody noticed if Riley's responded yet to Craig's community post actually giving a direct quote from Einstein about Newton?
I don't know. He probably hasn't, because there's this little red fruit. And if he doesn't like the little red fruit, he won't pick them.
So I'm just wondering, because we've got no flat earthers showing up, there is one globe earther who wants to speak by the looks of it, but I feel as though if I let him speak, it will turn into a shit show.
If you're talking about Banana,
I'm talking
be
about
prepared for copy. If you're talking about Banana now, be prepared for copyrighted music or the yelling of racial slurs to get your stream struck down for.
Are you talking about Dawn?
Oh no, not Dawn. I was talking about Banana now. More commonly known as P Mars.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna have P Mars.
So yeah, I might drag Dawn in here, because we've really got no flat earthers in here, because the flat earthers seem to be too scared to actually bring anything to the debate. So let's activate shit show. Okay.
Right, turn on the shit show.
3, 2.
I'll get the tap and time. Let's get this dumpster fire.
3, 2, 1, go. Hello, Dawn.
Oh, I'm in. Well,
Yes, you are.
Am I live?
Yeah, you are.
Yo, big up everyone.
So you wanted to say if.
Hello, Dawn. It's good to hear your voice.
Hello.
So you've been wanting to say a few things about this, haven't you?
Well, I was kind of trolling a bit. I don't know what you're talking about on the actual show. I was then talking to Golden Skeptic in the debate lobby. I'm just trolling. I'm leaving soon in 10, 20 minutes.
Because I didn't.
What are you talking about on the stream?
We're just talking about the scientific method and how flat earthers generally don't adhere to it, and yeah, stuff like that.
Oh yes, they love the scientific method, don't they? But
Pretty
they don't
much.
use it themselves.
And AB Science actually, he's a scientist, so he knows the scientific method. And we've got Flat Earth NZ in the chat trying to explain a whole lot of things, but they don't want to join because apparently they live in 2011 or some ancient time where they didn't have mics on their phone. So
you got quite a few viewers, isn't it? 150 almost.
135 right now, according to.
Well, one fun thing I've seen about Flat Earth New Zealand so far is, he brought up the whole scientific method. He said that time is not an independent variable. I told him in chat to simply do a Google search on is time an independent variable. He refuses to do that because every answer that you'll see says time is always an independent variable.
Yeah, in fact, in a lot of experiments we do, it's a confounding variable. That generally means that we have two independent variables to take into account. So sometimes time is, it's an independent variable you don't even want to have.
It says here, if time is one of your variables, it is the independent variable. Time is always the independent variable.
Yeah. Time is an absolute pain in the ass.
What does this have to do with time?
And why is time an independent variable? Because time is always marching forward. You can't stop it.
Though, my question is, what does time have to do with any of it?
Well, time is it's a very important concept in physics, and this goes into something called Noether's theorem. Now, Noether's theorem states that there are symmetries associated with certain laws in physics. And there's a symmetry associated with time, and this particular symmetry is also associated with the conservation of energy. So time is a very, very important a part of physics, because this describes the first law of thermodynamics. And I suppose you take a very reasonable leap, and you end up with this is a very important component to the second law of thermodynamics. But let's take that a little bit further, right? Because these laws state that in an isolated system, for energy to increase, you need to put work into that system. And that work comes in the shape of a force, and then suddenly you're at Newton's laws. So the time is an extremely important thing, because everything in physics is basically about energy. It's about kinetic energy and potential energy, how they over time, and how the balance between the two evolves over time. And that gives rise to forces. So yeah, time is an extremely important part of physics, and you just cannot get rid of it, because any experiment you do, from the moment you set up your reference to the moment you take your measurements, time has elapsed.
When it comes to like one person in the chat just said, Planarwalk, show me in an experiment, show me in any experiment proving the Earth where time is your independent variable. Sure, let's go with Bob Super Noodle Doodle, and
sorry, that is just, I love it when you call him that.
Boob Noodle, that's my favorite. My favorite is Boob Noodle, but Super Doodle Noodle, I like.
To explain this is a sundial is a device that tells the time of day where there's a sunlight in the apparent position of the sun in the sky.
I'll bring in Skeptic because I think he might be a flat earther. So
It tells you when the lights in the dome are in a correct position, creating a shadow.
All right, so who are they?
hello, Skeptic. How's it going?
Yes. Okay. So, what's the debate talking about so far? I want to know.
We're talking about time.
So far, we've just been talking about random nonsense. So if you want to have a flat Earth debate, then I you know.
What evidence do you have?
Start it.
Would be a good starting point.
Okay. What's my starting point? Hold on. Give me a second. A second. Okay, we can start right here. What's my starting point? Besides the fact that religion is now true, which sounds crazy to most people, but it's pretty much a fact. Religion at this point is telling the truth. It was telling the truth from the start, and
which religion
was just pretty much lied to. But as for the evidence,
which religion?
Almost all of the major ones, from Bible, the Quran, Judaism, Norse, Greek,
so what
Sumerian.
about Hindu?
I have to agree, some bits are true.
So I'm just trying to work this out. You're saying that that both the Christian religion, which says something like there are no other gods other than me, and Norse mythology are both true.
No, they're both talking about it. They're both true, but they're both talking about it from a different perspective.
So you are taking the simile or the metaphor there, are you?
No, a simile. How do I say this? It's more of the fact that the Bible and the Norse story, they're both in the same book. The difference is when you look at who was writing it, it's basically saying the God of the Bible is evil, while they're saying their God is good. That's the difference.
But my question is, are you?
Same story. Mm-hmm.
My question is, are you taking the different Bible stories? Now, I'm no Bible scholar, but are you taking the different Bible stories as metaphors or as literal truth?
Oh no, literal.
Whether it's a Bible story or whether it's a Quran or where's the Bhagavad Gita?
The Bhagavad Gita, Vedic Sanskrit, all that. I take all the major religions of the ancient past as literal.
Don't do that. Don't do that, dude. They're not meant as that.
Well, who said that?
I did. They're not literal, dude. They're stories, metaphors.
So it's all metaphors. So when the Bible talks about,
true over time, but don't take them all as literal truth, Jesus.
Okay. Yes. So when the Bible talks,
you can't take them as literal because they're self-contradictory, right?
No. So when the Bible talks,
can we skip?
Sorry. Yes.
No, it's okay. Okay. When the Bible talks about literal angels having sex with women and creating giants, that's fake.
I'd say that it would be someone that imagined it. Yeah.
Imagined it? Now, what if I could show you all the bodies?
Okay, post evidence. Debate lobby text. Just post something in there, and I'll bring it up on screen.
Yes. Yeah, let me see this.
Okay, hold on.
An advanced certificate and Adobe Photoshop. I can prove.
So, just for context, what's your particular denomination? I'm assuming you're a religious person here. What's your particular denomination?
I don't really have a denomination. I just take the Bible says. The only time I take it as not literal is when they tell me this is a parable. Anything other than that, I take it as literal.
So when someone tells you to not take it literally, so that tells me that you must be part of some denomination, because every particular denomination takes certain parts of the Bible as literal and certain parts as metaphorical or some other paths as outright incorrect. So, is it for you and this is not an attack on your beliefs whatsoever. This is about your interpretation of the Bible. You know, you have an understanding. You have had a conversation with people. So I'm just trying to get a better understanding.
Skeptic, can I get you to link to something that's not a YouTube video? Because it's kind of hard for me to.
Well, in the meantime,
because it'd be nice to be able to bring it up on screen and read through it rather than having to watch something which none of you guys can hear.
Okay, so I'm gonna explain. I'll send more of a picture.
Okay.
And then I'll explain. Okay. Now, where is that picture? Did I put it here?
Well, I got a quick question for you.
Yes.
So you say you take all these major religions as literal. Do you know who Ymir is?
Oh, you mean from Norse?
Yep.
Yeah, what about him?
Do you know who he is?
By the way, mute yourself.
If I'm correct, he's one of the giants. One of the ice giants, if I'm correct.
Actually, he is the creator of everything, including Odin.
Yeah, I doubt that.
As a Native American, I'd like to state my point. There are multiple gods across the United States. They all contradict each other.
No, it's more the fact that there's one God and then a bunch of fallen angels. Now, here, let me give an example of this. Okay, where the heck is that picture? I'm looking for it.
So earlier you said that all religions were true, and yet now you're contradicting that because there are polytheistic religions out there.
Yeah.
How can they be true and the others be true?
Okay, here, I'll tell you the story. I have to tell you the religious story.
No. I don't want a story. I want how you can say that that all of them are true when you have direct contradictions between them. Because you have Christianity saying that all other religions are false. All other gods are false. While you have the polytheistic pantheons saying that, no, they're all gods.
No, because here, let me explain it. Basically, what happens is when the angels came down to Earth from the flat Earth, okay, they called themselves God. They called themselves gods. They literally did. They told the human race, "We are gods. We are above you." So the human race, what they did is they accepted it. They accepted what they were saying. So they wrote them down as if they were gods. Odin is a fallen angel, but he is considered a god. He fills the exact description of a fallen angel. He had sex with the women of the earth and created the giants.
Right. So from where I'm sitting, we can have an interesting religious debate. And don't get me wrong, that is quite interesting to me. However, we are looking for the best evidence for the Earth being flat. So is there anything you can position there in lieu of religion as to why the Earth would be flat?
Okay, now,
that's the best evidence.
Okay, now where am I going to go with this? With the giants, okay. So basically what happens is, since the giants were on the earth and they were causing nothing but problems, and so were the angels, God locked up the angels and he had to kill the titans, okay? Now on top of that, they were causing a bunch of issues. So was the human race, okay? Because we all know the human race causes issues. We don't even have to question that, okay? So basically God decided, he's all like, okay, things are getting too bad. They're too shit. So he's all like, all right, I'm going to flood the earth. I'm going to open the dome. Now, the dome is made out of a glass-like structure, okay? Now, you can see the reflection of the dome. If you want to see it, I'll show you, okay? You can literally see the reflection of the dome. And no, I'm not trolling.
Can you prove that?
Okay.
Let him just finish the narrative, because
it is funny.
I like it, actually.
God.
Yeah, sure, it's fine.
But you're laughing. Some of us take this very seriously.
You're taking the piss, dude. You asked about flat Earth and you went to giants.
I am the flat master.
Basically, what happens
You're taking the piss.
Since it's made out of glass, there's going to be a reflection. The moon and the sun are going to give off reflections of it. You can see this sometimes, where the moon gives off.
No, glass is not to do with flat Earth.
No. Can we let him this argument again? Let me finish. Let him finish his narrative first.
Well, let me finish my narrative. So basically, it's made out of glass. Now there's water on top of the glass, which is why the sky is blue and why the ocean is blue. Okay, it's basically they're basically just reflections of each other. Okay? So why
is water not always blue?
Why is water not always blue? My belief. Look, this is my belief. Now, my belief is you know how when we have a rainbow, we get like different colors, red, blue, green, whatever, etc. My belief is that for some reason, I'm not sure why, but when you mix light with water and you put a little bit of glass in the way, you can see this in an aquarium. You could type in aquarium and go to Google. You're going to see it turn blue for some reason. I'm not sure why that happens, but that's my guess. My guess it has something to do with the light of the sun mixed together. So it turns blue.
Okay,
glass,
there's a very simple explanation for that. We'll go into that maybe later if need requires.
Okay.
But
I'm
still not hearing anything about a flat, about your argument for a flat Earth. So please continue.
Okay. So since it's made out of glass, and we have the water on top, the water below. Now, we can always do the perspective argument, but I'm so freaking sick of that argument. I hear it all the damn time.
Thank you.
I hear it all the damn time. It's actually quite annoying. Okay. So there's one thing I do want to know. What is your perspective?
What do you mean?
Because I want to hear this.
What is my perspective on what?
I know you guys have a ball, but like, give me the details to how you believe the ball works. Do you believe gravity exists? Do you believe,
absolutely.
all that type of stuff?
Absolutely, gravity exists. Gravity exists. It is measurable. We observe this, and we get, we can measure that all the time, and we do.
I would go so far to say because it is directly measurable, it is not a belief.
Okay. All right. Now, here's where I'm going to switch it up on you. I'm going to make you question whether what you believe is true or not.
Okay.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. Good luck. But okay, here. The Earth is a ball, right?
Yeah.
That's what you believe. That's what you believe, right? Okay. You say you believe there's a core inside of the Earth, right? Do you believe there's a core inside of the Earth?
That sounds.
Yep.
Okay. How can you prove a core? And I mean physically. Don't give me some type of physical manifestation of a core.
We can measure seismic waves as they travel through the Earth. And from those waves, we can differentiate the velocity, which is dependent on the density of the material they go through. And we measure the time delay between when different waves arrive at different positions on the Earth. We can determine that there is a core where there's varying densities, and our most likely candidate at the moment is an iron core, and this is consistent with our measurements, and this is consistent with our hypotheses, borderline theories about the formation of the solar system.
Okay, now can you give me at least any demonstrable proof of a core? Just like I showed you, there's two moons.
I have just listed it to you.
Wait. Hang on.
You listed what's going on under the Earth, seismic waves. I understand that.
There is another bit to this because there is the question. There is the question about how the magnetic field of the Earth is coming from a molten core, and there are direct experimentations using I forget which variant of salt it is off the top of my head, but they are increasing its temperature, putting it in motion, and are directly measuring a magnetic field emanating from said molten mass in motion.
Okay, so if I'm going to 100% honest on an intellectual level,
Yes.
that is an extremely strong hypothesis, and again, that's borderline theory. We cannot 100% confirm that, but
I'm not going to bash you.
Okay. On that sense, I absolutely fail to see any reason why that would not be the reason for the Earth's magnetosphere. As far as I can see it, that is the only thing that could explain the Earth's magnetosphere. Now, magnetism is what I do for a daily basis. I deal with tiny things, as I've said before. This is a very large.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I deal with tiny magnets. This is a very large magnet, but as far as I can see, this is the only reasonable explanation for the Earth's magnetosphere, and that is that there is an iron core, which is again self-rotating, and that's causing the Earth's magnetic field.
So I'm reading your mind right now. Can I talk?
Yes. Go.
On the Flat Earth Society's website, if you read "What evidence do you have?" and the frequently asked questions page, this is what it says. The evidence of flat Earth is derived from many facets of science and philosophy. The simplest is by relying on one's own senses to discern the true nature of the world around us. The world looks flat. The bottoms of flat clouds are flat. The movement of the sun. These are all examples of your senses telling you that you do not live on a spherical
I'd
world.
actually take... I just want to address that right now and say that the my senses...
So essentially, in short, ignore science.
Yeah.
What it's saying.
That's the way. That is what it says, pretty much.
Okay. Well, before I answer the magnetic stuff that he was talking about, I'm going to answer the Flat Earth Society, okay? I'm telling you this right now. No one actually in the Flat Earth community actually listens to the Flat Earth Society page. I don't know any major Flat Earth channel that actually listens. We all say it's fake. I made a video saying it was fake.
Understand that at times.
But it's real. It's right there. What is your website?
Okay. Now, let me answer science up there, okay, about the magnetics, okay?
Yeah.
All right. You admit that you can't prove that. I don't blame you. I couldn't prove it either. I tried to prove it. Trust me. I tried. I couldn't prove it. This is what I could prove. I could prove there is magnetics in the Earth for some reason. Okay? There's lava, there's dirt, and there's water. Now, does that prove Of course not. But here's my theory for the flat Earth, okay? Now, the Earth seems to be magnetic for some reason. Look, at this point, I just call it the power of God. But we'll stick to magnetic, okay? So, basically, the theory is the exact opposite of gravity for me, at least, when it comes to the flat Earth, meaning that it pushes not everything but certain things up, which is one of the reasons the sun and the moon stay up there. And this is my belief based off some scientific how do I say this, some scientific things coming out with magnetics that I can show you. Okay, I'm going to send it to you.
Okay. So I have to commend you on one thing that you were correct there, and that is that the theory of magnetism or electromagnetism, there is a certain opposite compared to the theory of gravity. But the thing is here is that when we're talking about magnetism, and this is where the opposite is that a gravitational monopole is possible, where it is not possible for magnetism. In magnetism, you can't have a magnetic monopole. But apart from that, no.
I understand what you're getting at. And it's there's an opposite. There's one that attracts, there's one that repels. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, I played with it in school. I remember. Now, at least this is my theory of what's going on when God created this place. For some reason, I believe the magnetics of this place, you know, the thing we call the magnetic field or whatever you want to call it, I believe it's mainly used to keep the sun and moon above us in motion. Now, since God is way smarter than us, he can do it in a better way than we can. But here's a smaller representation of it, okay? All right. So this is going to be a smaller representation of it. All right. Just using simple magnetics. Okay.
Are you posting it on the where are you posting this?
Cyber room.
You should put it in
cyber
debate lobby.
Room.
You should put things in debate lobby text. It helps.
So
okay.
Can I ask you a question to clarify something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Are you actually stating that magnetism is the replacement for gravity?
I don't think it's so much a replacement. I don't think gravity exists. I think the exact opposite of because that's what I see. I see the exact opposite happening. Things are always being lifted up rather than things always coming down. Now, we can go through a lot of theories about this, but I'm going based off, remember, what I see and the theories that I have in my head. Okay. Now,
that sounds very similar to the beliefs
am I 100% certain of it? No. Which is why sometimes I really just use the power of God. But you want to talk in a more scientific manner, so we're going to do that in that manner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I'd like some clarity about the whole you only see things being lifted up. Can you do me a favor and pick up your microphone and hold it in front of your face?
No. What I mean by things only being lifted up, not so much my cell phone. I'm talking about mainly the sun and the moon and how we play with magnetics most of the time. It's usually to lift things up. Now, not saying we don't use it to attract, but I rarely see it going around using it to attract most of the time. Most of the time it's used to repel, okay, to keep stuff away. You can do go to a lot of scientific YouTube videos. You'll see them always using magnetics to lift stuff up rather than bring it together. Now,
okay, so what you were talking about there is superconductivity. You're talking about the Meissner effect, and that is a very special case of magnetism. I mean, I do this all the time for prospective undergraduates that come in for their open day. I take some superconductors. I pour some liquid nitrogen or oxygen onto that, and then I cool it down, and then I put a little magnet on top of it. It floats, it repels, and it's lovely and gorgeous and stuff like that. But it cannot explain the orbital mechanics that we observe. It just cannot, because the relationships are different. Because we're talking about we're talking in magnets. We're talking about dipoles, right? We've got an R cubed dependence, which is entirely different than the R squared dependence that we observe when we see gravity.
Okay. All right.
So there is one thing that I'm wondering, Skeptic. I'm just wondering, what evidence do you have for the Earth being flat? Like, if
me? Oh, well, how do I say this? There's a ton of it online. I mean, I could just first I can go into NASA, try and just troll them because they're such a joke. But then I can also use, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen plenty of the videos already. Rockets being sent up, hitting the dome, the air balloons being sent up, and then the pilot, if I'm correct, it's called Pilot X. I can't remember the video, but if I remember correctly, it's called Pilot X. He goes like 80, 90,000, I think 80,000 feet in the air, if I'm correct. And he said it straight up, it's completely flat. He wanted to check for himself. Now,
so, I'm sorry, I have to check here. I have actually taken a video
So
myself
you're
from.
disregarding NASA based on what they say, and then you're completely believing some guy that's never been to college for science and doesn't have a job or a degree in it. You're taking his word for it because he just
this is the point.
So he's saying.
I'd rather take AB's science word than NASA's word any day.
Yeah.
Okay,
so here's the point
actually been in a
trying to make. So now I'm not an astronomer. I have friends who are involved with NASA, but you know what? Fuck it. I am not. For the sake of argument, let's just say what NASA puts out is not trustworthy because reasons. Now, when we're talking about the curvature, on my channel, you can view a video where I have taken a screen captures of a balloon launched by a flat earther trying to disprove the globe.
Okay.
And I have taken screen captures of his video. Dwayne Cullen, you may be familiar with his footage. It is absolutely 100% gorgeous. Go to his channel and watch it. It's absolutely beautiful what he does. I have taken screen captures of that. I have developed an algorithm which detects... Sorry?
Please put it so I can see it. You know, just download it.
Pull it up. Hold on. Let me just...
Who was it made by again?
Let me just Google him.
Oh, I've
Dwayne
got it up actually
Cullen.
right now on Journalism's channel.
Yeah, it is absolutely beautiful, that footage. Now, I developed an algorithm which detects the point for each vertical line on the footage where the Earth stops and where space begins. And I did some curve fitting algorithms which we regularly use, and it's very normal. And we consistently show that there is a curvature. Okay, so this is not data that is generated by NASA.
I believe you. I believe you. I believe you. I believe it's not generated by NASA.
It's not generated by NASA. This is generated by a flat earther posting this stuff on YouTube. I've analyzed it. Now, I did a very crude analysis of just drawing straight lines from one point to another on the horizon, going, yeah, well, this is clearly evidence that there is curve. But then some people commented on saying, well, I still don't see any curve. So I decided to go really hardcore, and I dedicated some serious computing power to this to really demonstrate that there is an unequivocal, it just cannot be argued that there is no curvature. And it is clearly demonstrated within this video, and I'm very transparent in the whole process. I explain to you every step that is made throughout the entire analysis of the footage. And I didn't just analyze one photo, I analyzed around 60. Now, if you really want, I could extend that to every frame in the video, and it will produce the same result.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. I've seen those videos before. You send out basically a balloon, and then you put a line over it, and there's like a lip. It's like straight on one part, but kind of like curved on the other. I think I've seen what you're talking about. I'd prefer if you send it in, like, so I can at least view it.
Okay, so I can show you.
I know what you're talking about.
I'll probably have that at hand a little bit more. So Planarwalk, you've got the visible light footage. I chose to use the infrared footage.
Yeah,
it's a little bit better.
Debate lobby text right now. Debate lobby text. So you can put it there if you want.
Yeah, so I will just quickly stick the link into that once I get to it.
It's fine.
Yeah,
take your time.
Debate lobby text. Scroll around. Yeah.
See, I'm a nice person.
It's quite a long video. I mainly did this video because I was just a bit up myself, and I wanted to just show this new little algorithm that I developed, and it was kind of cool, and I had a bit of fun with it.
Enjoy yourself. Enjoy.
Yeah, precisely. But I mean, even on the thumbnail image, you can see the curve, man.
Okay, hold on. I gotta fast forward it. I'm not sure where. Okay, there we go. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Let me just small this.
So, Planarwalk, have you got that clip on?
I'm just bringing it up
on your screen.
I'll probably end up watching the whole video, but I have an idea of what you're talking about. Okay, now I'm going to explain this the best way that I can. Now, whether any of you believe this is true, it's up to you. But this is remember, this is biblical. Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to explain the structure of a little bit of the earth. Okay. So basically, it has 4 corners. Okay, 4 corners. Now, in the center, there is a circle that God inscribed on there. Okay, basically, when you inscribe something, it creates an upturned edge. So basically, if you get a piece of wood and you start carving out a circle in the middle, the edge is going to be upturned, right? Right? And it's going to be in a circle-like manner. Okay. So now, what happens is when I've showed this before. Basically, if you get like an inscribed circle of anything and you put like a camera in the center and you lift it up, it's still flat. But because it's a circle, it looks like there's a curve when in reality there isn't. Now, this is up for the person to believe or not, because I've never been to the edge, and I would like to go. Okay, I would like to go through the dome, but unfortunately, we're kind of kept out.
You can actually
can I get in there?
Trip to Antarctica and go all the way past to the other side of the world if you'd like. You could actually save up within about $10,000 to be there. That's about 2 years of savings. You can go and do that yourself, like you said you'd like to.
No. I can save up money.
Oh, no. You had the opportunity to do so.
Actually, can I cut in there to touch on a point that he brought? You brought the point about having a circle of view and it looks more circular as you gain altitude. The problem with that is your horizon extends with altitude. So the apparent circle you would see would never actually change. It would always look like the same amount of curvature regardless of altitude. It was just down to a circle of vision.
Well, that's up for debate, because I still haven't seen the whole video. We're in the debate right now. I'm seeing glimpses of it. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys go through more detail in the video. Okay? But I wanted to just at least explain how, what the Bible says about how this place is built. So it would be hard for me to completely just be like, oh yeah, this is completely an inscribed circle. Now, I do have someone that went up to check himself. Okay? And this is what he came back with, okay?
So in the meantime, Planarwalk, would you be able to freeze it on 6 minutes 56, please?
Now, I've been listening for a bit as I went and grabbed what is my dinner. So, question for you, Skeptic. You're going to the Bible for how the earth is constructed, and you're using that as your primary means, your primary source for the actual structure and mechanism of everything.
Sorry, 6 minutes 56.
It gives pretty much, from what I can tell, it literally gives the details. And literally next in line out of the religions would be the Norse and the Quran. Those are next in line.
Well, seeing as how the Quran is Judaism 3.0, you can treat it as the same when it comes to that. But if you're using that for your source for what should be a scientific endeavor, can you tell me what the Bible and the Quran says about disease and illness?
One, disease is bad, and the Bible says to alkalize the body. The herbs are for the healing of the nation.
Mechanism. What causes disease and pestilence according to the Bible?
Okay, let me read Genesis real quick.
To find that out. I don't remember every single verse.
The heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness covered the surface of the watery depths.
Can you hear me?
And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Genesis.
You keep mentioning
physical
the
Bible right
Bible.
Can I speak? Can I speak?
No,
or...
you're not allowed.
Okay, finish.
All right. You keep mentioning the Bible. I was raised in a Christian household, so I'm familiar with the Bible. Where exactly are you getting that the Bible says that the earth is flat?
Here, I'm going to bring out a few verses for you. Okay? So if I'm correct in Job, it's Job, I can't remember, what is it? Job 18, I think, if I'm correct. Job 18, it says, he spread out the sky as a molten looking glass. Okay? He's literally saying the sky is made out of glass in Job. Okay? Then if I'm correct in Isaiah 44, he says he hangs the heaven like a tent. Basically, he hangs the dome kind of like a tent. So it has like kind of curve. Okay? And he says he sits on the circle of the earth. Okay? Because it's a circle. Okay? Because when the circle's inscribed, and then the dome is shaped kind of like a circle, so he sits on it. Okay? Now, whether you want to believe he puts his feet on it like a footstool, or he sits on it literally, that's up for you to believe, but that's just up to the person.
Sorry guys, I wanted to move away from the biblical stuff because that is just a book. Whether you believe in the Bible, in whatever way you believe in the Bible, that's fine, that's grand. Now, I personally don't believe that there's necessarily a dichotomy. It's either God or science, but I do believe that if you want to take the assumption that God is true and that God is real, that's absolutely fine. I can buy into that. I can believe that, and that's fine. But it has to be within the confines of science. So if there is a God, then God created the Big Bang and God created the spherical Earth, right? So I wanted to move away from that because what Planarwalk has got on his screen right now is an analysis of the footage of Dwayne Cullen's Dwayne Cullen's footage. He is a flat earther, as I've said, and the graph that is shown on the screen, perhaps we can make it full screen. Yeah, wonderful. So the graph we have here.
Hold on, I need to see it. I need to see it first.
Okay.
Where is it?
It is on the live stream.
Hold on.
After this point is dealt with, I'd like to ask another question.
So,
have you ever read the Bible?
What you see here, I want to move away from what you see here. Is what I've analyzed. What you have on the x-axis, which is your independent variable, people, is the distance from the distance of the horizon from the central point of the image, and this is a very important point because this graph actually shows what the effect of any lens aberration has on the footage. Now, if we have lens aberrations, then what we have, if the horizon passes through the center of the image, then we would, see the true curvature. So we have the distance from the center of the image on the x-axis, and then we have the measured curvature on the y-axis. And what we see here is that when the horizon passes through the center of the image, we still have a very positive and quite a large curvature, right? So this is empirical evidence that there is a curved image, and that the image is curved, and it cannot be attributed to lens aberration. And this very clearly shows that there's a curvature due to the shape of the object that we are looking at, rather than any effects we're seeing.
Now, I'm going to say my part.
Which verse is it?
No, I'm not going to bring up a verse.
Then I don't find it in my Bible that I physically have right here on the left.
Which verse are you talking about? Which one?
The one you were talking about the dome that you think exists.
Well, it's in Genesis 1 right there. It's called the firmament.
I could post it right now.
We'll get back to the topic at hand, which is the.
Let's before I keep talking, let's get back to one thing I wanted to talk about. So, all right. So we have what I would call. He sent up camera, all that stuff. I see it. I believe you. I can see it. Now, here's where I differ. Now, I said it's inscribed a circle, right? And it's pushed down, so it's upturned, okay? Now, I never went, okay? I never went up there. But a man named Auguste Piccard in 1931 did. He literally went up there in basically a balloon and basically a giant metal ball, okay? And he wanted to see it for himself. Okay. Now he actually almost died during this event. It was on the news and everything. Okay. He went up, and when he came back down, he said, "This is what he said." He said the Earth looked like a flat disc with an upturned edge, just like God said. Now that's your choice to believe him, or that's your choice not to believe him. It's up to your choice.
Here's a great. Wait, hang on. Here's a great thing with you bringing this up. Because let's look at when this happened, 1931. Yeah. So as you noted in the articles about it, it mentioned that he almost died. Do you know what he was afflicted with?
Tell me.
Oxygen deprivation.
Oh,
do you know what happens to your vision and your mental acuity as you are deprived of oxygen?
Yeah, you start to lose focus, lose consciousness.
You start seeing all sorts of fucked up shit. Now, can anyone here on the panel tell me, when did we develop pressurized aircraft?
This should be easy. Google?
I don't know. If I knew, I would tell you.
The early to mid 1940s.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're taking a first-hand account of someone who was suffering from a known medical condition that is known to mess with the mental and visual acuity.
Okay, I would like to add, I don't know if you are looking at the live stream or if you're just dialing into the the Discord and not looking at the live stream, but what is there on full screen, that is science happening right now. Because what I did there, I removed human bias, right? Because even if we're talking about oxygen deprived states and everything, and that's a very valid point, even if we are not in an oxygen deprived state, we are biased individuals. And that just happens. What you are looking at on the screen right now is it's an analysis that is absolutely free from bias, right? And this very clearly shows that the Earth is curved, and you cannot deny that.
But I'll let you finish.
I mean, that's all.
Okay. All right. because I can show you a video probably just as high as this one, and it is completely flat. Even if you check it and you take all biases out of it and you do the exact same thing that you did here, and it'll turn out flat.
All right, where's our video? You're going to post it in debate lobby, yeah?
Now, what's the difference between that video and the other one? Okay, this video, that's the one you're showing here, based off what I've seen, is the fact that the closer you get towards the dome, the more you're going to see a slight curve. Basically, if you live like in the center, it's probably going to be more flat than it.
Have you been in the airplane before? In the cockpit, specifically?
But hold on. Address the point you just made. Sorry, I just need to address the point that you just made. The closer you get to the dome, so you're saying
this is the hard
the
part.
higher up we go, the more curve it appears. Right? That is what you are saying.
No. What I'm saying is, meaning, okay, let's say I go high up in the air, like 100,000 feet, and I'm at the center. The chances are it's going to look more flat than curved. But if I start moving towards a certain area, it's going to start looking more curved and clearing up.
Yeah. When you start
moving up, when your altitude
increases. So when your altitude increases, the curvature you observe increases. That is what you are saying?
No, it's not the altitude. It's basically moving towards the edge of the. I don't believe the altitude will really change much, no matter how high you go. Like after a certain point, we should see a curve, or it should be completely flat. One of the two. But the more it spreads out, kind of like if you're driving from here to California, it's kind of like that. The closer you are to the edge or towards the glass, the chances are you're going to see one curve.
No, that
about 3 or 4 minutes alone with Skeptic for a second.
0 sense.
Airplane before, like I have, there is a curve.
There is a curve, and seriously, the graph
of this one person speaking at a time
shows very clearly that it's a curve.
Let me look. It's not that I'm denying it. I'm saying there's a curve, but there's 2 curves we're describing. You're saying it's a ball curve. I'm saying it's the circle of the Earth curve. Which one is it? Into the edge?
Sorry, the circle of the Earth curve. Right. So, are you suggesting that? That what we're seeing here in this data is the edge of the Earth.
Can I have 3 or 4 minutes alone with this guy for a second?
What I believe you guys are seeing, it's not that it's not a curve, but it is the circle of the Earth that creates that tiny little bit of curve as it circles around.
No.
Can I have like 3 or 4 minutes with this guy?
Sure.
I mean, go for it.
I'm going to go for a piss. So have fun.
I've never actually talked with you before, Skeptic. I have no idea who you are, and you may know me, you may not.
Yes.
Well, let me finish because, like I said, you may or may not know who I am, but people love me or hate me because I take in an entire conversation and dissect it down to its root problem. And you've already stated early on that you were a Bible literalist, which means everything in the Bible is literally true. And then you brought up the circle of the Earth in the Bible.
Yes.
And I'd like to point out a few passages to you that I'm pretty sure you might want to look into before you keep making that claim.
Okay.
And that would be Revelation 7:1, Isaiah 11:12, Ezekiel 7:2, and that's just 3 of many that I have listed right in front of me right now, where it talks about the 4 corners of the earth.
Yes.
How does a circle have 4 corners?
That's true. That's true. That's
so,
and that also
can you geometrically show me a circle that has 4 corners? I would love to see.
Let me show you. Here, let me show you.
And while you're doing that, also ponder on this. The reason why I asked about disease and pestilence before is because in the text of the Bible and other mythologies, it says that it was punishment from God. Now, do you pray the cold away, or do you take medicine because it's a known affliction with an actual methodology to give you the symptoms?
You're talking. I told you. Remember, I'm Bible literally. I'm going to tell you something you guys probably don't know.
So bacteria and disease is not a thing that can be medically treated. It's all from God.
Oh, no. It's a thing. But from what I know, from where it comes from, one, eating badly, not taking care of yourself, not doing exercise, not doing all of that. So eventually, what happens is
people have done that and have healed over from heart attacks.
Yeah, and on top of that, acidic food. Acidic food is so, like, people don't realize we were designed fruits mainly. Our main diet is actually supposed to be fruits. So
yeah, sorry, are you talking about? Sorry, you cut out a little bit. I'm hoping you could clarify for me. So you're saying that acidic foods are bad, but you are supposed to eat lots of fruits.
Yes,
which are acidic.
Which are extremely acidic.
Let me explain. The acidity in fruits is actually good for you. It transfers from acidity to alkaline. Okay.
No. You cannot.
Okay.
Pull that with me. Okay.
That's not how this works. I'm not joking.
Right.
Here, I'll give an example. If nothing but acidic food all the time, eventually the acidity in your body is going to become hard, and that hardness is going to start making everything sick in your body.
Sir,
okay?
I drink energy drinks every day. I have not.
Huh?
That's how valid your point sounds.
I didn't hear you.
But
never mind.
No.
I think the point was.
This is what you're doing to us. You see that?
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're still waiting on a circle with any corners.
No, I'm not going to explain myself.
Sorry, my bad. Let me post it up. I got distracted with all the
logical.
Hold on, give me a second. I'm sorry. I get distracted with all the talking and everyone asking.
But how does the pH levels of fruits regarding to human health, the regard of God being real? It doesn't. That's just physics and biology.
No, Dr. Wilbert Otto.
Which religion is pretty much strictly against most of physics and biology. It's like if you're sick because the demons are trying to get at you, and so the all the fucking passages in the Bible I've read in the past year and a half because I've been studying this thing day to day.
I'll explain it, okay? Basically, the more you eat acidic food, like you can eat acidic food, but you have to alkalize yourself up. It has to be like a balance. It can't be completely alkaline. It can't be completely acidic. And trust me, more alkaline is better than more acidic.
Well, if you drink only one thing.
Oh no.
Like
so first we have to say the more alkaline the better. I challenge you to drink sodium hydroxide solution. Because
I would like to point out
extremely alkaline, and you will die. You will die. So your point there is absolutely silly. Okay.
No. I mean,
there is a process within the body called no. Alkaline foods are not necessarily good for you, right?
So you're saying
we're talking about a balanced diet.
Yes, fruits is not always good for you. You can't just
eat only fruits good. He's actually posted something.
Fruit is okay. I mean, I'm never going to discourage people from eating fruit. Absolutely not. But your statement is that the more alkaline we make our bodies, the better. No, that's absolutely not true. Okay. Right?
Hold on, guys, because you guys keep going on this fruit thing when we're still trying to deal with the four corners on a circle. And not
on a circle of a circle.
No, okay.
But in the lobby
I
text,
think that point is moot because it's ridiculous.
But it's going back to the point to where he's a Bible literalist and he's actually contradicting himself. This is the issue that's at hand.
Okay.
So in the lobby text, if you can actually post that picture up on full screen for us there, Planarwalk, because people are going to love this. Because when he's talking about the circle of the earth, he's talking about a passage where he actually rose somebody up high enough to see the circle of the earth. He didn't raise them high enough to see the square of the earth. He rose them high enough to see the circle of the earth.
Glass.
But it's a direct contradiction even with this picture, you still saying it's a circle of the earth. It's a direct contradiction to your biblical.
No. I'm saying he said he inscribed a circle on the earth. That doesn't mean it's not square. So when he mentions the circle, he's just talking about the circle of the earth, the circle.
Okay, thinking logically, if you go west far enough, will you hit the edge of the Earth? Have you traveled to Japan before? Because I have. Last year.
No, you'll hit the glass eventually, but you have to go past Antarctica, the circle of Antarctica. You know, they talk about the ice swamp.
So you're not saying the Earth is flat. You're saying it's a cylinder.
It's basically leveled with pillars. It's like this. It's a get a footstool. Think of a footstool or like a. And I want you to imagine.
To quote your passage,
if it's a dome over a circle flat, that means you're going to get the edge regardless if you pass Antarctica or not. Because clearly, if you go west far enough in a circle, you are going to hit an edge of some sort. I've passed Japan. How fucking far west do I have to go? And if I keep on going and I reach the other side of the Earth where I started, that means the Earth is a cylinder because the only way to fall off the edge is north and south, is what you're saying. Correct?
Yeah.
I guess similar, but basically, I'm gonna explain it in detail. I'm gonna explain it in detail because I gotta go through the details with you guys. Okay, so basically, the circle is based off the research. It's supposedly 60,000 miles until you hit Antarctica. Not even the edge. Antarctica.
60,000 miles. Sorry, where did you get that number from?
Based off some basically Antarctic expedition, something like that, where they
professor on geography did he speak
an Antarctic expedition. They were trying to find a way to go past Antarctica without climbing, and they said they went around the whole thing, and they said it was 60,000 miles. Now, whether that story's true or not, that's up to the person, but that's the estimate. Now, if you go above the
last time I checked, the distance from the North Pole to the South Pole is roughly 20,000 miles. Am I correct in saying that?
Good question.
20,000 kilometers. Sorry.
What?
Do you support the Nazi Party and their beliefs?
Do I? No.
Let's not talk about Nazis. Come on.
So,
Godwin's law.
Hear me out. Just let me speak. Okay, so
the
Nazis.
He didn't say Hitler.
Hitler wanted to have a mission. They had missions to have Antarctic bases because they wanted to go to the edge of the world to control the edge in their conquest to control the world.
Yes, that makes sense.
Nazis believed in the flat Earth.
Yeah, I know they did.
No, they didn't. Come on.
Now you do.
Nazis, they were horrible people, but...
Yeah, I know. I know
they were also fucking crazy people.
It doesn't matter. They won the war.
These guys wanted to find the Spear of Destiny and the Fountain of Youth. They're like Indiana Jones style type beliefs that want to fucking control the crystal skull.
Did you guys just hear that, though?
Yeah, I did just hear that. I was gonna... The Nazis won the war.
They pretty much won the war, yeah. Okay,
we kicked the shit out of those motherfuckers. Come on.
Okay, here, I want you to take a look at this.
Russia happened, though.
I want everyone to look at this. We took in 100-something.
I transferred to university to this college. I was a history.
Okay, listen,
we kicked their
please.
shit in.
No, we didn't.
So, I see where it's going. We took in some Nazi scientists.
Okay, that's what they tell you from now. Did you know that the CIA is run by Nazis?
No, because my cousin's not a Nazi.
Okay, did you know the FBI is run by Nazis?
Sorry, I was coughing. What'd you say?
Did you know the FBI, CIA, certain parts of the government are run by Nazis?
Because my aunt is not a Nazi.
Not even going there. Not even going there. Hang on. Not even going there. However, Skeptic, you are making quite the claims. What do you have to support said claim?
You're saying the world is not flat. It's a cylinder, but it's also...
Okay, now after...
the Nazis never lost the war.
Let's start off with NASA.
The FBI and the CIA are ran by Nazis.
Yes. Well, let's start off small.
Let's go back and start off a little small here. Yeah, we're being nonsensical. Yeah. Let's just go back and calm down and start small.
Look, Werner von Braun ended up being head of the department. He ended up being in charge of the whole thing. Why would you put
everybody's beliefs are automatically.
Why would you put Nazis in charge of the whole thing? He didn't win.
Okay. So
now, on top of that,
this is a very interesting question.
Yes.
Oh wait.
Sorry, when we're talking about within the scientific community, There is a bit of a kind of historical discussion. Was it right to appoint Werner von Braun, in charge of that sort of thing, even though he managed to achieve those sorts of things? There is a wider discussion where we're talking about Heisenberg. We're talking about a lot of scientists who actually worked as scientists under the Nazi regime. A lot of people were kind of forced, well, carry on your work or pretty much be exiled, or a lot of people fled, and a lot of people, they crushed under the oppression, and it just went, well, okay, this is a really horrible situation I'm in, but they will allow me to carry on my research. Some remained apolitical and just carried on. Some were, were kind of, some were sympathetic, of course. But just to say that somehow Nazis are running something like that, it's an absolutely ridiculous statement, because it was a very complex period of history, especially for scientists. Now, and I'm not going to deny that there were a lot of people, a lot of scientists, and let's not forget that there were people, and there were a lot of evil people being scientists, doing some really evil shit.
Yeah, I know. Yes. One guy, I think if I'm correct, he stuck like some blue chemical into like these guys' ears, and his eyes started to turn like completely blue. Like the guy was just nuts. I forgot the name.
But to take the leap from that to say that
take these lyrics.
The CIA
are crazy.
Can I talk, please?
By Nazis, it's ridiculous.
Can I talk? Can I speak?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Flat, let me talk.
Flat.
I understand. Flat master. It's okay. Okay, so we have Nazis in NASA. We have Nazis in the CIA. Nazis in the FBI. Nazis in part of the government. Now, here's a big kicker. Nazis run our technological program. They're part of IBM. They're the ones creating all this like new shit.
Again, citation needed. And in the meantime, there's something to bring up. Hey, AB, hang on 1 second. I would just like to point something out. Actually, wait, before you start pulling up those citations, close your eyes, skeptic, and just follow with me.
Okay.
You live in a nation where a tyrannical political group is taking over, and you notice that all their verbal opponents are disappearing, to where it is quite literally join the party affiliation or you die. What are you going to do?
Well, let's see. Okay, let's say I was Hitler. Okay.
No. Answer my question. Answer my question.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You have two options. Die.
I understand.
Die or join this political party.
Okay. I understand that. I'm not saying...
Then answer the question.
Yes, of course I would. That's an obvious answer. Yes, I would. But my belief is
So
that,
should we call you evil because of that decision?
Oh, hold on. No, that's survival of the fittest. That's the whole survival of the fittest.
So what's the problem? So what is the problem with Werner von Braun being labeled a Nazi for survival when he was still in Germany?
I don't think it was for survival. All evidence points to the fact that
Then provide evidence for why you don't believe it was for survival.
Okay, so when the Nazis were going around, killing their people, they would actually mark and letter their people in a certain way. Okay, they would mark and letter them, and I'm pretty sure anyone who's seen a documentary, they used to put pink triangles on the gay people, like lesbian, gay, stuff like that. They used to put pink triangles on them, but they had a basically labeling system for it. Okay, for each person. Now, when you look into IBM, and remember I told you Nazis are part of that.
That has nothing to do with the question that you were posed.
Listen.
No,
Only
let
if you
him carry
will
on with the
answer the
IBM.
question
Let him
that
carry
you
on with
proposed.
the IBM.
They're doing the exact same thing, okay? But from a technological standpoint rather than a paper standpoint now. Now it's a technological standpoint. Okay?
So you have no interest in the question that I put to you.
Okay, ask the question. Ask the question.
If you are not willing to accept the title of being evil because of survival of the fittest due to the situation, why is it an issue with Von Braun, but you're okay with it if you were in that position?
Of course the Nazis are evil. It's not even a... Of course, if I was a Nazi,
the Nazis being evil was not the question. That was not the question.
If you were
in the situation and you joined the political party,
what's wrong with that?
Yes, I would join up, but I have a question.
So why?
And it has to be, and I think it's more the fact that I wasn't born in that time. Because I wasn't born in that time, my history
let's say the Crips and the Bloods.
I have to look through the history, and it becomes skewed.
Or you die, and you join them, and you're a Blood or a Crip. And people are like, oh, you're a gangster, you're wrong, you're horrible, you're evil, you're killing people, you're dealing drugs, blah, 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 you're making crimes, you're a criminal, you're evil.
Yes. Yes.
Does that make you a criminal because you're forced to join a group that you didn't want to, but you would die if you didn't?
Look, I'm not going to argue.
God, I'd probably just die. I'm sorry.
So now you're changing your story?
Now you're changing your statement. You'd rather die than be.
Besides the fact that we got off Flat Earth, this is a very funny question. Like, if you were a Nazi, would you be evil and would you take this and all this stuff? Like, yes, of course. If I was a Nazi, yes, I'd take the offer and freaking live.
Okay,
but that wasn't the question. Hang on. The question wasn't if you were a Nazi, would you make that choice? No, the situation was your choice was death, or affiliate with the Nazi party. And you chose affiliation. Now you're saying you would choose death, which is...
Oh, you mean would I join the Nazi party?
Would you join it if you were under threat of your...
Oh, no, I just died. At this point, I'm good. I'm okay with dying. My God's above the dome.
But you said a bit ago that it's all about survival, so you would join. So,
no, because I thought you guys were asking, like, if I was a Nazi... And America caught me.
No,
if
you are
that just shows you're not paying attention.
Mindset. If I'm a Nazi, I have a different. That's what I mean. I heard the question wrong.
No. You obviously were not listening when it was first posed to you.
Okay, sorry. Can we move away from this?
You want to get back to Flat Earth? Yeah, because we're talking about it. We're going into others.
Yeah, we're going in circles.
Can I just make one point?
Look.
I just want to make one point because I'm actually eating a banana, which, according to Ray Comfort at least, is proof of a god. Apparently,
that sounds very erotic.
Well,
no,
I
mean,
come on, baby.
If you break down human life and all that is living, you notice that it is so complex. It's as if it were engineered by. I'm not opposed to there being God, but I am opposed for the Earth being a cylinder. Anyways, like I like to say, let me finish. I'm sounding crazy here, I know, but let's just say, okay, so you go up to the dome, and you pass the dome. What happens if you pierce the dome? You get through said dome. What if the dome is just...
You mean if I break it, or I just have a passageway through?
What if it's just a layer?
A layer?
A thick layer of chemical, and you could make it through and live. What would happen after? What would you see outside it?
If I could, let's say I could make it through, okay? Well, I'd probably die because there's water on the other side. Now, if there's passageways, listen to me. There's passageways that you can go through. If, like, let's say we were to make a building all the way up to the dome, okay? There are certain passageways that if we can literally walk past the water, it won't drown us, it won't kill us, and we can literally walk into heaven. Like, literally walk in there.
All right. Okay. Now, you're saying that the skies above were blue because of water, and the water is blue because of the reflection off the dome and everything, which goes back to a question that I brought up earlier. why are there locations where water is green? And specifically speaking,
algae.
Tropical area.
You mean like under or above?
Throughout. A greenish tint, not blue.
Okay, you mean in the sky?
Is water in the
water.
sky?
No, I'm asking you because we're talking about
lakes, rivers, oceans.
No. I'm talking about ocean water.
Oh, ocean water that's green? Oh,
Yeah.
Green, red, stuff like that. I think green is just honestly it depends what it is. It could just be dirt, germs, whatever it could be. As for red, when it turns red, oh, that's just God. That's just God reminding you.
So red algae is because of God?
No. Red water. Here, I'll show you.
A red tide is due to red algae.
Skip.
Red tides, are you talking about the ones over by Spain or Australia? Because that's due to a chemical reaction.
Yes. I've heard it all. Look, I have heard it all.
I heard it all, but I am not a scientist.
Look, it's not like I never...
Yeah.
Oh, why is it turning red?
Look,
They say all these things, but it's like, okay, if it's turning red because of this, make it stop. That's
Look,
what I want to know. If they say it's turning red because of this, okay, make it stop. But they can't.
Well,
make it
no,
stop.
absolutely. We can make it stop. Absolutely. It is
Okay,
within the idea of...
stop?
the issue is should we make it stop? Because this red water, or what color it is part of a natural process. Now, the moment where we realize it's part of some human interference, then maybe we should start intervening. But if it is just part of a natural process, then we should let it happen. We cannot make it stop on purely ethical basis, because this is what nature or what God or whatever designed it to be. We should not interfere with that, because if there is a natural process, especially in a current day and age, we shouldn't be interfering with that shit. We should be trying to minimize the human impact on that. And if we are interfering with the red waters or whatever color it may be, that's undesirable. We need to think about, are we interfering with a natural process or are we interfering with a human process? Now, if it's a human process, yeah, fair game. Maybe we should do something to stop that. But if it is an absolutely natural process, then yeah, we should not fuck with that shit.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. From the sky, would that be a natural process?
Sorry?
If rocks fell from the sky, would that be a natural process?
Well, rocks have fallen from the skies.
That'd be a you think rocks fall from the sky?
It happens all the time.
I'm not talking about hail. I'm talking about literal stone rocks. That's natural.
Yes, that's what asteroids are. They're stone rocks. In space.
I'm sorry. It's just, it's so funny. Oh, God. I'm sorry. That was just funny. You guys think rocks falling from the sky is natural?
Yes.
Space. That shit happens.
Asteroids
that shit happens. A friend of mine was in, I don't know if any of you guys heard about the boats in Hawaii.
Tunguska sites, for example.
But a friend of mine was recently. You may have heard about this. You may have heard about this boat in Hawaii being hit by a rock because of a volcanic eruption. Right, my friend was on that fucking boat. Now, fortunately, the only thing was someone that broke their arm or something. It was very minor. But yes, rocks do fall from the fucking sky.
Yes, but when I mean fall, I mean, you think it's okay for rocks to just rain down? That's not natural.
That shit happens.
I understand the volcano you're talking about. I do believe you. If a volcano erupts, rocks are going to fall. But I'm talking about just no volcano nearby, nothing going on, and then it just magically rains rocks? No. That's not natural.
Well, it's not. Well, hang on. It's not magical. There is a natural occurrence for this.
You think this is natural?
I don't have enough cards tapped for mana to get some.
I mean, to be honest, we've had this stream going for 2 hours now. You've been engaged with it for an hour. Am I right in saying? Shit, we're on an hour and a half now. Look, I just want to make a quick point here. My understanding of your belief of the Bible is that you take certain aspects as as literal. You take certain aspects as metaphorical. You take certain
only
aspects...
when it says parables. Only when it says parables. That's the only time I don't.
Only when it says that. Well, look.
Yes.
The thing is, the Bible was written down by human beings. Now, if you believe that it was the word of God, fair enough. But the word of God was passed down through human beings, right? Human beings. There are discrepancies in there, and there's maybe a loss in translation. Now, I'm not trying to be a priest or anything here, but I'm just trying to pass you my belief. Now, I'm not a religious person at all, but if I were to have to accept a God, then this God created the earth as it is in a way that is measurable, and in a way that we observe through science. This God created science. Regardless of what your particular belief of God is, it is healthy to continuously reevaluate what your viewpoint is on that particular matter, because your interpretation, and I'm not necessarily saying that the word of God is fallible or anything like that. What I'm saying is that your interpretation of the word of God may be infallible. And this is what we observe the earth being a sphere. We observe the earth, we observe a Big Bang even. And what is there to exclude the possibility that God actually created the Big Bang? God decided that the fundamental universal constants are these values, and just let shit run from there on, right?
I'm not saying God can't do that. I'm not saying God can't do that. He can. He could just make a Big Bang, and he can make it work. But isn't it a lot more simple and easy? Yeah, let me just make a flat.
But that's the thing. It's not easier.
Why? Okay, how are you going to explain the vacuum of space with the vacuum with the atmosphere of the Earth? Why isn't the vacuum just tearing off the atmosphere?
Gradient.
Okay, I can talk to you about gradient. Okay, so what is your particular issue with the atmosphere around the vacuum of space? What is your particular issue with that statement?
I have seen. Oh God, I've seen enough things to go on.
I would appreciate to know what to interject at this point.
Let me speak. That the vacuum here, we can create a vacuum here that is just so freaking strong. It's beyond belief. It could bend a whole steel truck, back end of a truck, and just crush it. Now,
absolutely.
The vacuum of space is supposedly 10 times stronger than. How is it not ripping off this veneer of Earth? Why, you got it wrong. Why is it that we're just contained? That we are just contained inside of a structure that holds everything in.
Okay. So your first story,
one person speak.
Sorry. I'd like to make it very.
AB, I have a quick question for him that I'm assuming will go right in line with where you're going because of our similar background. Skeptic, can you answer the simple question for me? Does pressure go from high to low or low to high?
Does pressure go from high to low to low? Well, pressure usually goes higher. It usually goes higher and higher and higher until it bursts.
So low to high.
Huh?
So low to high is what you're saying, correct?
Basically.
Yep.
Okay, so if I'd like to take you back to the truck example, so if there were, if the truck were not an isolated system or anything, and we'd have the whole thing in a vacuum somehow, and we could pump that out, nothing would happen to the truck. Okay, absolutely nothing would happen to the truck. All right. I work with high vacuums on a daily basis. I work with vacuums around 10 to the minus 7, 10 to the minus 8 millibar. I do this on a daily basis. And anything that's inside my vacuum chambers, you pump it down and you see nothing happening, right? We're talking about pressure differences. We're talking about a gradient in pressure. And that's what makes stuff happen. But when we're talking about the Earth and the vacuum of space, what you're ignoring here is gravity. Because you see, essentially what you are saying is stuff moving from a high pressure environment to a low pressure environment without boundary and without any external forces acting on it. The pressure just it evens out. All the molecules in the gas they reach an equilibrium state where they're evenly distributed, and that's according to the second law of thermodynamics. But there's an important statement wrapped up in the second law of thermodynamics, and that is the principle of minimal potential energy. And that is where objects always move towards the state that has the minimal potential energy. But when you introduce gravity into the situation, and let me just reiterate the fact that gravity is a observable, measurable force, and a force is a consequence of potential energy. And at the surface of the Earth, we are at a local level, at the lowest potential energy state. What happens to the gas molecules is that all the gas molecules tend towards, locally, the lowest potential energy state, which is towards the surface of the Earth. Now, as the lowest potential energy state becomes more populated, the pressure increases. That results in an outward force. And this produces a potential energy gradient. Well, the potential energy gradient already exists because of the gravitational potential. But this results in a density gradient as you move away from the Earth. So what we are not seeing is that there is a sharp boundary between high pressure, low pressure. What we're seeing is a gradually decreasing pressure with height. Because you have to remember that vacuums do not suck stuff away from high pressure environments. It's high pressure environments pushing stuff into low pressure environments. But because there is this potential energy barrier that is created by the gravitational force, that presents a container which prevents the atmosphere from leaking away.
So basically what you're saying is, before I go back in time, besides the fact that no one has been able to prove gravity, and I understand everyone talks about it.
No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Sorry, you just started off with no one has been able to prove gravity. I have 140 undergraduates every year come in and prove gravity.
I understand I understand.
Yeah, it's a rite of passage for college students who take physics.
I know.
All my undergraduates have to do this.
Yes, I know, but there's so much on the issue of gravity to get into that it really looks like a made-up theory, but I'm going to leave it as the fact that we can't prove it. I'm just going to leave it as
anything off your desk.
There's a lot of other issues, but let me finish. Let me finish. What you're saying is that gravity is holding everything in. How much force do you think you would need to hold it, to hold that atmosphere in? You would need a ton.
About 14 psi at sea level.
The butterflies, us, and pretty much probably everything would be stuck to the ground.
No,
gravity. It would be way too rough.
By making that claim, you really do not understand the explanation of gravity, even from a foundational state, by understanding that it is a proportional relationship between the masses at play.
Yes, but we went over this in the beginning.
Which is why.
Why do you agree with this?
I want you to understand. We went over this
as human beings. We as human beings feel more of the force of gravity than a fucking butterfly, because what is the main difference? We have a lot more mass than a butterfly.
I understand that, but listen.
Then why do you keep parroting the asinine wrong explanations?
Because you haven't proven the core yet. You proved the core, you proved gravity 100%.
Well, okay, so what core would you like to be proven?
The core of the Earth, you prove gravity 100%, and I will completely drop this, and I will believe you, and I will become a baller. I'll change everything on my channel.
The core is irrelevant, right? I have 140 undergraduates every year proving gravitational attraction with a 0.5 kilogram mass. Right? And they can demonstrate the attraction due to gravitational forces. Right?
Or
you don't need a mass the size of the Earth. You can demonstrate.
Or magnetic forces, like I was saying in the beginning.
Oh, no.
Here's the thing with that claim about magnetic forces. You do not get
to talk to me about magnetism.
Hang on. Really simply for you, Skeptic. Hang on, Skeptic. Really simply for you. If it was a magnetic interaction, here's the beautiful thing about magnetic interactions. They are directly measurable. And we don't measure that between us and the Earth.
Hold on. You don't measure that?
Holy fuck. Okay, I'm an electrical engineer. I deal with electronics, magnetisms, and all of that shit on a daily fucking basis. Magnetic interactions are quantifiable, are directly measurable as a magnetic field. There are particular measures, there are particular modes of measurements, and particular actual units of measure that are directly for magnetic fields. We do not get that between the Earth and us.
As an electrical engineer, you may be aware that there's a magnetic field due to the Earth. We cannot discount that, but it is really fucking tiny, and it does not act in the direction that you would get due to gravity. Our magnetic interaction, it's about minimization of the Zeeman energy, and actually that goes towards the North Pole, which is the principle of how compasses work, right? Because the magnetic attraction between yourself and the Earth, right, does not act in that direction. It actually acts in an orthogonal direction to where your idea of down.
You probably don't want to use that word.
But
orthogonal.
Oh, fuck it. Yeah. Where down is. But it is so small. I mean, we're talking about half a Gauss or something like that. And
not even that. It ends up being in the realm of negligible, because a lot of methodologies, it falls into the standard deviation.
Yeah, it is tiny.
But I do want
to be honest, right, I deal with tiny magnetic fields on a quantum mechanical level, and the Earth's gravitational field is rarely an issue.
I do want to say something, because I am going to close this up soon. So I'm going to ask Skeptic a question, then I'm going to read super chats, and then we'll end the stream.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back.
So, Skeptic, the question that I want to ask you is, have you ever thought that maybe the Bible is not true?
I'm going to explain my story. I was actually going to drop the because they said the Bible is a flat Earth book, and I really looked at it, and it was, and I admitted it to myself, and I told myself, if I cannot prove that the Earth is flat or that the ball is a goddamn joke, I am going to drop the Bible. I'm going to drop religion, and trust me, you wouldn't want me to do that. Let's just say I'm a little crazy, okay? But I was going to drop it completely. But the more and more and more I looked, the more I saw lies coming from NASA, and the more I saw the truth coming from the flat Earth.
Wait,
and I was like, okay. No, not all of them. All of them. I think it's mostly they're going off a false premise. You learn the ball when you're a kid. You learn the ball when you're a little baby.
Okay, so your assumption
if you go off a false premise, assuming it's true, of course they're gonna think it's true when it's actually a lie. They've been lied to.
I would like to point out something extremely the whole flat Earth argument right here. And that's within the flat Earth community. It is the assumption that the Earth being a sphere is somehow important. As scientists, we don't give a shit. Whatever the shape of the Earth is, that is the shape of the Earth. We'll work it out, because if we are working on fake science, right? Because the Earth being flat, for example, is a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. And if the second law of thermodynamics, the very technology you are using right now works because of the second law of thermodynamics, right? So if that is wrong, we want to know what it is. The shape of the Earth is not interesting to us. It's just the fact that it's a sphere, and it just happens to be a sphere, and that's it. So why should we give a shit? Because actually, hiding the truth for us as scientists makes our own job more difficult. Now, my job is quite difficult as it is. I don't want it to be more difficult than it is already. That would just be a silly idea.
I think that's a good way of putting it. But yeah, I'm going to go to super chats. I got 2 super chats, so and I'll just reload the super chat page.
Yeah, lovely, skillet.
No, funny part is I had an answer for that, but I'm gonna drop it here, so I'll just.
Don't worry, there will be next fortnight. We'll have another debate, and it's every fortnight. So every fortnight you can come on and make your point, and hopefully.
Yeah, I was actually gonna come on like 4 hours later, but I just and catch you guys. I didn't expect you guys to be on, honestly.
Anyway, super chats. We've got $2 from Paul Reap, and it says, he says Nathan Oakley is learning mirrors now. I'm guessing he's talking about the accounts that Nathan Oakley seems to have, all the different accounts. And then I've got $6.66 from Boaty McBoatface. Great number. And he says, sun not changing in angular throughout day is... Oh, out up. He says, sun not changing in angular, comma, no space. God damn it. It's like the opposite of flat earthers.
Space, comma!
Throughout day, comma, no space. It's evidence of spherical shape. But I think, yeah, he's talking about the sun doesn't change in angular size. And yeah, that is a important point, because the sun doesn't change in angular size throughout the day. If it was...
So I'm thing which explores that. It's going to be interesting. It is going to be another top quality bit of satire.
Okay.
You will enjoy it.
I've got one thing that I'm going to say. I do have a debunk of Stellarium coming up sometime. I need to just get a photo of the sky, and I need to know where it's from, and then I'm going to completely debunk Stellarium.
I had a crack at it. To be honest, I haven't had a crack at a Stellarium. To be honest, it's one of those things I was never even aware of until I joined the Flat Earth community. So yeah, I haven't had a look at it yet.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering.
Universe Sandbox is better, anyway.
I'm actually wondering.
To be honest, I just have a question and I just code it up in Python. It's no big deal, but yeah, that's a particular skill set.
You were going to say a question, Skeptic?
Yeah. What are you guys going to do about satellites? I'm really wondering that right now. What are you guys going to do about that?
Sorry, what do you mean? You cut out at the crucial point. Can you repeat
okay. What are you guys going to do to prove that there's thousands of satellites up there? When
have you heard of hang on?
Okay.
Have you heard of a directional antenna?
No, I have not.
Or even satellites that actually broadcast their own exact location all of the time.
Or satellite television. Now, I work well within my department. I regularly have coffee with these guys. I have, there are 5 teams within my department who are directly involved into launching satellites. 3 of them are currently analyzing data being produced by satellites. 2 of them are actively building the equipment to go up onto these satellites. So, there you go.
Okay, now which satellites? Balloon satellites or which one?
So I've got some people in my department involved in the current hot project, which is called Gaia. You may have heard of it. It's the Billion Star Surveyor.
Hold on, is that little commercial that they're putting out? Like, they're putting out a commercial about Gaia and all this stuff and technology and a new place.
There's a lot of stuff going on where I was involved, and I have actually seen, and I have actually managed to press the capture button once on the Herschel and Planck satellites. Seriously, there's all of this stuff is going on all the time. These satellites are real.
Okay.
Despite telescopes.
I was going to say, because I've got to end this up, so yeah, we'll have maybe the next stream can be about satellites, if you want to talk that.
Okay. Well, I just want to let you guys know my channel now. I'll let you guys know my channel. Okay. It's called Why You Are an Idiot, or you can just click on that video of where the Titans. Where it was in the beginning, where I sent a video of the Titans. Follow that page, look at all the information that I have. Most people are scared of debating me. I'm telling you this right now. Every time I say they agree to a debate, they look at my channel and they run scared. Okay?
Why?
You guys are the first ones to actually debate me.
But why would they be scared?
I'll give you some props. You guys are the first ones to debate.
80%.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm going to end up the stream.
Shoot me.
So, leave a like and subscribe if you liked that stream. Leave a comment letting me know if this was better than the last one, if there's any suggestions you have to improve it. I do think that it would be good if we get some Flat Earthers. So Flat Earthers, if you're watching this, be sure to join, if you've got a good argument, why not present it? I'll listen. But anyway, I will see you in the next stream. Or, actually, next video. Yeah, next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching. And yes, it was Sultans of Swing. Okay, what's the...